Chapter 1837. Xiaoguo, what else did he do besides scamming people into marriage? Tao Yu couldn't hold it in any longer. After the bridesmaid incident, his intuition told him that the dream Tang Guo mentioned might happen in the future, or it might have happened in the past. There were some things in this world that were too magical. Some magical things couldn't be explained by science. He didn't have a good impression of Yan Song to begin with. Now that he heard that he had bullied his beloved girl in his dream, how could he not be angry? He even tricked me into having a child. After I had a child, I found out that he liked men. He married me in my dream to fool others and get an heir. When Tao Yu heard this, he almost exploded. This was too much. His wife was so cute, so obedient, and so beautiful. How could she have a child? If they got married, he would treat her like a baby. Child. Get lost. He didn't like it at all. He only wanted to hold her little hand and live a happy life. A third party, called a child, would only steal her attention if he came to this world. Tao Yu frowned and fell into deep thought. It was already difficult to deal with a brother-in-law. If a boy or a little princess came, wouldn't he be fighting for his wife every day? The problem was, he didn't like children. Would Xiaoguo like them? Does Xiaoguo like children? Tao Yu couldn't help but ask, although it wasn't the right time. Tang Guo shook her head. No. Does brother Tao like them? Tao Yu smiled brightly. I don't like them either. I hate children the most. I only like Xiaoguo. Xiaoguo, when we get married in the future, we don't want such annoying little things. I think so too. Tao Yu was satisfied. He touched Tang Guo's face. Xiaoguo will be my treasure. No one can distract us. In this life, I only want to be with Xiaoguo. Please forgive me for being selfish. I don't want anyone to come between us. Fortunately, his brother-in-law's gaze was no longer so scary. Little brats were different. They were young and didn't know anything. There was really nothing he could do. After reaching a consensus, Tao Yu felt that his whole life was bright. He only wanted to pamper her. He didn't want to give a single bit of love to anyone else. He only wanted to fill his heart with her. Xiaoguo, I want to get married. Tao Yu looked at Tang Guo sadly. When can we get married? I've prepared everything. I'm just waiting for your nod. Brother Tao, are you going to propose to me? Tang Guo asked with a smile. Everything's ready. Where are the flowers, candles, and rings? Hearing this, Tao Yu's entire being was in a mess. His heart was in a panic. No, what Xiaoguo meant was that she had to agree to it, right? Now, he was not very satisfied with his preparations. Although his heart was flustered, Tao Yu's expression remained calm. He held Tang Guo's small hand and said somewhat nervously, I've also prepared a candlelight dinner. I'll take you home to change first, and then I'll pick you up later, okay? Tang Guo nodded. Okay. System host, this guy wasn't prepared at all. Tang Guo said, aren't I in a hurry to go back and prepare? Tongzi, you really don't have any feelings. No wonder you're still single. How can you be in a hurry? You have to give me time and opportunity. System, he was wrong. The world of adult men and women was more complicated than he thought. He didn't understand. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1838. Host, Tao Yu has successfully proposed to your fake sister. She has agreed. They are now having a romantic candlelight dinner. Tang Kuei was expressionless. Why are you telling me this? Didn't I tell you that you don't have to keep an eye on Tao Yu anymore? I just want to remind you that you are still single. Do you want to consider finding a girl to have a romantic relationship with? Host, don't lock me up in a dark room for no reason. I'm your caring system, and I'm wholeheartedly thinking for you. It's not like you're lonely and working overtime in the middle of the night. If you had a girlfriend, it would be different. How will it be different? Don't tell me that I won't work overtime if I have a girlfriend. Everyone in the company treats me like a machine that can do anything. They throw all kinds of problems at me as if I can solve them. 111 smiled and said, "Is there anything that the host can't solve?" Of course it will be different if you have a girlfriend. Although you will still work overtime, your girlfriend will call you and care about your health. She might even cook soup for you personally and bring you food. Just thinking about it makes you happy, right? Tang Kuei said, "That's not realistic. Not everyone can enter the company. If I really have a girlfriend, I won't ask her to bring me soup at this late hour. What if something happens? A single girl shouldn't go out in the middle of the night. Host, you deserve to be single." After a pause, 111 looked at Tang Kuei and couldn't help but continue working. Host, do you really plan to be single for the rest of your life? You three little ones, don't worry about this. Feelings can't be forced. I can't find someone to accompany me just because I am going to be single for the rest of my life. Unless this person is someone I like. 111 didn't understand human feelings but thought that Tang Kuei's words made sense. But given his host's situation, he would probably rely on his own ability to be single in every world. Well, he really wanted to see if the host would become like Tao Yu once he fell in love with a girl. At present, it seemed that he had failed. The host had no interest in women at all. He really wanted to ask if the host couldn't find a boyfriend if he didn't find a girlfriend. But when he thought of the other party's cruelty, he trembled. Forget it, he didn't dare to ask. He was afraid of being locked in a dark room. Actually, he guessed that his host was not interested in men. Previously, in various small worlds, he had met men and women who were infatuated with his host. However, this fellow was cold and heartless, rejecting them without hesitation. It was clear that he was not someone who would take pity on the fairer sex. "Three brats, if you're bored, help me keep an eye on Yen Song and Tan Yi. I need to know their every move. If there are any intimate or ambiguous scenes, I need to record them. At the same time, check on the Yen family's information, mainly on the few illegitimate children. It would be best if you could pick one of them for me, someone who is quite capable." Understood, host. By the way, that fake sister of yours should also be investigating this, right? I'll leave this matter to you. Hasn't little sister and that brat been in love recently? Leave this kind of small matter to me, your elder brother, to handle. In the end, one of the illegitimate sons of the Yen family was selected by 111. He had outstanding abilities and was 1 year younger than Yen Song. His name was Yen Ting. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1839. Not long after, there was a shocking rumor in the city's upper-class circle. The future heir of the Yen family, Yen Song, liked men. It was said that someone saw Yen Song being very intimate with a man. When this rumor spread, the people outside were just shocked. But in the Yen family, there was indeed a huge uproar. Yen Song did not expect this rumor to be exposed. He had always been very careful. He would not be intimate with Tan Yi in public. Even if they met privately, they would not go in and out at the same time. He suspected that this was a conspiracy or it was just a rumor spread by the other party. There was no evidence. If there was evidence, his father would not be asking him about this matter with a serious face. He would have taken the photos or some evidence and asked him to solve it. Dad, someone must be framing me. How can I be with a man? Yen Song's father looked at him deeply and said, whether this rumor is true or not, you are not willing to meet any of the girls that I introduced to you. Since someone is using this rumor to attack you, if you have a girl that you like, bring her here and get married as soon as possible. When you get married and have a child, these rumors will naturally disappear. Dad, I don't care whether it is true or not. You must get married and have a child. As for the rest, you can decide on it yourself. Yen Song understood what his father meant. What the Yen family cared about was the daughter-in-law on the surface. As for what he did secretly, whether it was a man or a woman, his father would not object. This was the same as what he had guessed at the beginning. Dad, I have my eyes on a girl now. I will express my feelings to her as soon as possible. I hope that I can marry her as soon as possible. Yen Song's father was surprised when he heard this. Which family is she from? Family Tang family. Yen Song's father was surprised. Family Tang family. He was surprised at first. Then, he came to his senses. Is it the adopted daughter of the family Tang family? Yes. Yen Song admitted. All right. The family Tang family only has 2 daughters. You can't do anything about the biological daughter. She has already announced her relationship with Tao family's boy. I heard that she has proposed successfully 2 days ago. It shouldn't be long before they get engaged. The adopted daughter is not bad. The family Tang family is not big. The couple is good to their adopted daughter. Yen Song knew that his father would not oppose his marriage with Tang Yi. Now the problem was whether Tang Yi would agree or not. He didn't feel that Tang Yi liked him that much. What Yen Song didn't expect was that he was able to easily invite Tang Yi out. Tang Yi, who was originally cold to him, actually became a lot more enthusiastic. He did not know that Tang Yi was only interested in his luck. Or rather, Tang Yi was interested in the luck of the Yen family. Anyway, no matter what she did now, as long as she replenished the energy of the lucky talisman, even if she married Yen Song now, the lucky talisman would let her obtain Tang Kuei's heart. As long as she could obtain enough luck to replenish the lucky charm's energy, she didn't care about anything else. It didn't take long for Tang Yi and Yen Song to announce their relationship to the public. Every day, Tang Yi would smile when she saw that the lucky charm was replenishing its energy. Later on, Yen Song proposed to her and she agreed. The Yen family came to the family room to discuss their marriage. It seemed like the Yen family was more anxious. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change to a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1840. The family Tang couple was very surprised. They frowned when they knew that Tang Yi and Yen Song were together. They also knew about the rumors about Yen Song. Actually, in their circle, the more groundless the rumors were, the more likely it was to be true. Even though a family like the Yen family couldn't be compared to the Tang family, they couldn't simply spread any rumors. After the Yen family left, Lin Yinghui looked at Tang Yi and asked, Xiaoyi, do you really like Yen Song? Tang Kuei was not here today, so Tang Yi did not feel pressured at all. She nodded and said, yes. Xiaoyi, you have not known each other for long. Do you want to think about it again? Lin Yinghui said worriedly, there were a lot of rumors about Yen Song recently. I mean to ask someone to investigate whether it is true or not. If he really likes men, he is just using you to cheat you into marriage. It's not that I want to judge others with bad intentions, but marriage is not a child's game. If you don't investigate it properly, you will be at a disadvantage. Moreover, the Yen family was so messy. There were all kinds of illegitimate children outside. She did not like them at all. Tang Yi was the adopted daughter of the family Tang. Even if she was not her biological daughter, she did not want to be in-laws with a family like the Yen family. Who knew if Yen Song was the same as his father, who had a messy private life? When the time came, her daughter would suffer. She was satisfied with Tao Yu because the Tao family was upright. Tao Yu was loyal to Tangua, and he knew when to yield and when to stand tall. He did not even look at any other woman except for Tangua. She believed that only a man who was single-minded and focused like him could be reliable. Mom, those are just groundless rumors. I heard that Yen Song's illegitimate brothers are not satisfied with him and want to compete with him for the position of the heir. I'm guessing that they were the ones who released the news to slander him. Actually, Tang Yi did not care about Yen Song at all. What she cared about was the luck on Yen Song. As the heir of the Yen family, his luck must be strong enough to replenish the power of the lucky charm. She actually believed those rumors. If that was true, it would be better. She would feel less guilty. Yen Song's purpose for her was not pure. So it should be fine for her to let the lucky charm absorb some of his luck, right? Who asked him to have bad intentions? The family Tang couple didn't know what Tang Yi was thinking. Seeing Tang Yi's stubborn look, they couldn't persuade her. They planned to wait for Tang Gua and Tang Kuei to come back and ask them what to do. Xiao Yi seems to be possessed, she insists on marrying Yen Song. Lin Yinghui held on to Tang Gua's hand and said worriedly, the Yen family is so messy. I'm afraid that if she marries over, she will be eaten alive. Moreover, if the rumor that Yen Song likes men is true, then the one who will suffer is Xiaoyi. I suspect that they're in such a hurry because they want Yen Song to get married to cover up this rumor. When the time comes, we can trick Xiaoyi into getting married or even having children. With the young mistress of the Yen family on the surface, no matter what happens in the future, it won't affect Yen Song much. In fact, Lin Yinghui's main concern was that Yen Song would trick Tang Yi into having a baby. Nowadays, there were many such cases in society. Men liked men, but they couldn't bear the pressure from their families. With the help of their family members, they deceived a girl who had no family background to carry on their ancestral line. The more Lin Yinghui thought about it, the more worried and angry she was. After raising Tang Yi for so many years, she was a little angry for the first time. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1841. Mom, how about I help you investigate Yen Song? Tang Kuei glanced at Tang Gua and said, if there's really something wrong with Yen Song, we can show the evidence in front of Xiaoyi. Then she won't be so stubborn. Brother, you're right. Let's investigate Yen Song first. Tang Gua nodded. Xiaoyi and I don't play together, so we can't persuade her. Even our parents can't persuade her, let alone me. It's better to show the evidence directly. Hearing this, the couple nodded in agreement. The system and 111 silently complained at the same time. These two brother and sister were really evil. They knew that Tang Yi was just replenishing the energy of the lucky charm, so she didn't care about anything else. If they showed the evidence, Tang Yi would most likely let the lucky charm absorb Yen Song's luck. Thinking about it, it was quite good. Yen Song was not a good person, Tang Yi was not a good person, and the Yen family was not a good person either. They really didn't do anything, it was all Tang Yi's decision. Not long after, Tang Kuei showed a few photos to the family Tang couple. It was an intimate photo of Yen Song and a man. From the photo, it could be seen that the relationship between Yen Song and this man was not ordinary. As for those indecent photos and videos, Tang Kuwei didn't intend to show them at this time. If he really showed them, the family Tang couple would stop Tang Yi and Yen Song from getting married at all costs. If that happened, wouldn't it be against his original intention? His baby sister probably had the same idea. They really had a tacit understanding. This world was very interesting. Living here for a lifetime should be a very happy thing, except that it was a little busy with work. The couple showed the photos to Tang Yi. Tang Yi said, "It's just a few photos, how can you think that Yen Song really likes men?" In fact, Tang Yi believed it. But if she didn't marry Yen Song, how could she absorb his luck every day? After seeing these photos, the little bit of guilt in her heart completely disappeared. It was not too much for her to absorb the luck of those who approached her with ulterior motives. Who asked them to provoke her? They had ulterior motives, and she also had ulterior motives. In order to make the family Tang couple agree, Tang Yi even brought Yen Song to the house and let Yen Song personally say that he absolutely did not like men, and that those rumors were false. As for the photos, Yen Song gave a good explanation. If someone wanted to, it would be very easy to take a photo like this. Moreover, the location shown in the photo was in a bar. This further proved that someone was trying to frame him. The location of this bar was actually overseas. That was why Yen Song and Tang Yi dared to be so bold. Yen Song saw that Tang Yi was always on his side, so he became more confident. The family Tang couple still objected, but Tang Yi said that she would marry Yen Song no matter what. "Dad, Mom, if you insist on stopping me, I'm willing to give up everything and leave this house." Tang Yi and her husband didn't expect Tang Yi's words at all. Surprise, shock, and disappointment. For a man, Tang Yi actually wanted to cut off her relationship with them. Tang Yongbo's face darkened at that time. In fact, he was not satisfied with Tang Yi for a long time. Since the accident many years ago, when they survived the disaster, he felt that Tang Yi didn't care about their life and death at all. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, you should be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1842. At that time, he didn't care about Tang Yi anymore. First, he raised her for so many years, and he had some feelings for her. Second, it was because of Lin Yinghui. They lost so much money to Xiaogua, and she didn't enjoy the life of a rich young lady when she came back. She entered the company with her own ability and made countless achievements for the company. Speaking of which, they didn't lose money to Tang Yi at all. The only one who lost money was his biological daughter, Xiaogua. Xiaogua didn't blame them for losing her, nor did she resent that she didn't grow up in her own home and enjoy the life of a rich young lady from childhood to adulthood. Regardless of whether it was her biological parents who didn't do their duty or her adoptive parents, Xiaogua had always cared about their feelings. But what about Tang Yi? Thinking about it carefully, she didn't care about them at all. And they doted on their biological daughter, but they still cared about whether it would make her uncomfortable and uncomfortable. Tang Yongbo didn't say anything, and Lin Yinghui also didn't persuade Tang Yi anymore. In fact, she knew that Tang Yi had been estranged from her for a long time. She loved her daughter, but Tang Yi didn't appreciate it. According to the current situation, she was afraid that she would treat them as enemies. Sure enough, a grown girl couldn't be kept at home. Tang Yi looked at the two's opposition and regretted a little. But thinking that these two's opposition would ruin her plan, she shut up. The energy of the lucky charm was still being replenished. If she didn't want to be with Yen Song, she would have to choose another person. What happened a few years ago was still vivid in her mind, and it made her understand that not everyone's luck could be absorbed. It was not easy to find someone like Yen Song, who was full of luck and could be absorbed. She couldn't give up. She wanted to get Tang Kuei's heart and be with him. She would come back here sooner or later. Lucky Yen was big and mysterious. Even if she got married, it could fulfill her wish. As for family Tang couple, when she got Tang Kuei's heart, she could make a wish that they only love her as their daughter. Mom, Dad, I'm leaving. I don't need you to care about my future. Tang Yi pulled Yen Song and turned to leave. Tang Yongbua stopped her. Xiao Yi, think about it. If you walk out of this door today, you won't be a member of the family Tang anymore. When he said this, Tang Yongbua's voice was a bit angry. Especially when he saw that Lin Yinghui's eyes were red and she was holding back her tears. He hadn't seen Yinghui cry for a long time. Tang Yi really disappointed him. If this daughter of his was jealous of his biological daughter and made Yinghui angry, it was better not to keep her. What was the point of having such a scourge? They would just treat it as if they had raised her for nothing. For a man, she was going to leave them and sever ties with them. If he had known this would happen, he would not have agreed to bring back the pitiful little girl at the entrance of the orphanage and give her the best life. Lin Yinghui grabbed Tang Yongbua's hand and pursed her lips, not saying a word. But Tang Yongbua saw through her thoughts. He sneered and said, since they have become enemies, what is the point of keeping them alive? Our daughter is back, but she wants to leave because of a man. Let's just pretend that we didn't raise her. Yinghui, what's the use of keeping her alive? Don't you feel it these days? Tang Yi's face changed slightly when she heard Tang Yongbua's words. Yes, Mom and Dad's biological daughter, Xiaogua, is by your side. It's nothing for you if I leave. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1843. Anyway, the one you like the most is your biological daughter. I won't be an eyesore even if I leave. I'm just a substitute for Tanghua. When she came back, I should have left this family. I shouldn't have stayed here and hindered all of you. Now I'm leaving. You should be happy. Tang Yi seemed to be unable to control her heart. She wanted to say all the words that she had kept in her heart all these years. Her escape route was all on the lucky charm. This was something she could trust wholeheartedly. Everything she had now was brought to her by the lucky charm. In this world, anyone could have a change of heart, but the lucky charm wouldn't. As long as she had a wish, the lucky charm would be able to help her realize all her wishes. Although the family Tang couple was sad to her now, maybe when she made a wish and got all their parental love, they would be kind to her again. Speaking of which, these were all fake. If it weren't for the lucky charm, would they be so good to her? Now they were not as good to her as before. It must be because the lucky charm's energy was not enough. She was not afraid, not at all. When she replenished the energy, she could get all these again. Hearing Tang Yi's words, Lin Yinghui's eyes turned dark. She tried hard not to faint. She took a deep breath and said, Go, just pretend that I didn't raise you. I didn't expect that you think like this. Go, you're not welcome here. Xiao Guo was back. Why did she think so much at that time? In order to appease Tang Yi, she almost wronged her own daughter. Why? Ungrateful, she really raised an ungrateful person. Go. If Tang Yongbua was not supporting Lin Yinghui, he would have slapped her. Tang Yi smiled, okay, I'll go. See, you finally show that you don't like me. As soon as Tang Yi turned around and left, Lin Yinghui fainted. When Tang Guo received the call, she was on a date with Tao Yu. Her face slightly changed, she raised her head. My mother fainted because of Tang Yi. Brother Tao, accompany me to the hospital. What happened? Tang Yi wants to marry Yen Song, but her parents don't agree. She wants to break off the relationship. As for the specifics, he should have said something extreme. Tao Yu held Tang Guo's hand and fell into deep thought. He stole a glance at her. Although she was walking very quickly, she didn't seem nervous at all. This was very strange. Xiao Guo always gave him a mysterious feeling. Powerful and invincible skills, as well as the ability to foresee the future, and the ability to hit without leaving a mark. It was said that the men who were sent to the hospital were still complaining of pain every day, as if they had never recovered from their injuries. Xiao Guo, are you a fairy or a witch? Tang Guo got into the car, looked at Tao Yu and said, I don't know either. Actually, it's not important. I don't care if you're a witch or a fairy. As long as you marry me, everything is negotiable. Tang Guo went to the hospital to visit the family Tang couple. Tang Yongbo was making a phone call. Well, move Tang Yi's household registration out. She is no longer the daughter of our family Tang. Property. No, not a single cent. My family has raised her for more than 10 years. Isn't that enough? We don't owe her anything. My wife has been sent to the hospital because of her. I can't afford to have a daughter like her. Take back everything under her name. Forget about the things she spent and sold. Take back everything that can be taken back. Don't leave a single cent. Didn't she say that we only treat our own daughter well? Then I, Tang Yongbo, want to let her know what it means to treat only her own daughter well. After hanging up the phone, Tang Yongbo saw Tang Guo coming in and smiled. Xiao Guo, Xiao Tao is here. Your mother is fine. She has always been in good health. But this time she was too angry. It's my negligence. I won't let it happen again. Dad, are you done with her? Tang Yongbo said lightly, yes. In fact, a few years ago, I saw some signs. Tang Yi doesn't care about your mother and me at all. Now she has found someone she likes and plans to get married. I wish her happiness. After a few years, Tang Yongbo's heart had been obliterated. But he didn't say it out because of Lin Yinghui. Maybe your mother and I are used to doing charity these years. We always consider other people's feelings. We don't want to be so decisive. Tang Yongbo remembered the gifts Tang Guo and Tang Kui had given Tang Yi. He glanced at Lin Yinghui's seat and said with regret, it's a pity that you and your brother gave her such a good gift. Tang Guo blinked and whispered, Dad, the master's gift is rare. Not everyone can have it. Tang Yongbo wants to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change to a female supporting lead, calm down. Look, chat about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1844. After Lin Yinghui woke up, she knew what Tang Yongbo had done. She didn't say anything, but she seemed to be a little silent. The couple was able to join hands to create the Tang group in the past. They were not simple people. It was just that they lost their beloved daughter, so they considered leaving some leeway for others. In fact, they loved and tolerated Tang Yi more than ordinary parents did to their own daughter. Previously, Tang Yi's decisiveness, that appearance of not recognizing her relatives, made her bitterly disappointed. Since Tang Yi didn't care about it, she didn't have anything to say. She just treated it as if she had never raised her. After more than 10 years, she and Tang Yongbo didn't owe Tang Yi anything. Tang Guo looked at Lin Yinghui's look of resignation, the corner of her mouth slightly curved up. The reason why she didn't choose to use a golden millet dream on the couple at the beginning. It was because the couple had an inexplicable obsession with Tang Yi. It was just a dream. As long as Tang Yi didn't make a mistake and didn't expose herself, the couple wouldn't think anything of Tang Yi because of a dream. On the contrary, because of that dream, it would be a warning, and it might cause trouble. Just like now, they just let Tang Yi develop like this. Let the couple fully realize that Tang Yi's nature was more useful than a dream. No matter how deep the things in the dream were, for rational and strong-willed people, it didn't affect them much. Now the couple was hurt, and there was a crack in their hearts. If Tang Yi wanted to go back and beg for mercy in the future, wouldn't they feel uncomfortable? If Tang Yi was really that shameless, she would use a dream of golden millet to hit the couple hard. She didn't know what they would think of this heartless thing. It must be like a fishbone stuck in their throat, and they couldn't wait to strangle her. The system was too cruel. Only her big cutie could stand this woman. Tang Guo comforted Lin Yinghui and Tang Yongbua, and said to the system in a relaxed tone, "Monitor Tang Yi for me, especially the scene when she talked to the lucky charm. Be sure to monitor it. Host, what's the use of this? When there is a chance, show it to my parents. If Tang Yi comes back to them and pretends to be pitiful, I will use a golden millet dream on them first, and then show them these videos. Tang Yi wants to turn over, no way." The system wanted to make a swallowing action, but it was not a human, so it weakly agreed. His great host was as heartless as ever. However, it made sense. Time and space could be reversed or repeated. Everything could be redone, except for the soul that had been scattered and merged with the world. There was no way to return. At least, he didn't know of such a way. Tang Yi left the family Tang Hotel with Yen Song. Although Yen Song knew that Tang Yi and family Tang had a falling out, he didn't think that the family Tang really didn't recognize him as their daughter. On the contrary, he felt that this was not a bad thing. He had a wife like Tang Yi on the surface, and she even fell out with her family for him. At least, his father would approve of it. As for whether Tang Yi could bring any help to him, as long as she was the adopted daughter of the Tang family, it was already the biggest help. There was another advantage to having a falling out with the family Tang. In the future, when Tang Yi found out that he liked men, it would be difficult for her to go back to the family Tang to support her. On the surface, the relationship between the Yen family and the family Tang Hotel was still in-laws. For him, there was no harm in it. If he wanted to chat with more like-minded people, he would be able to quickly change into a female supporting role. Calm down. Look, chat about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1845. In fact, Tang Yi didn't think that the family Tang would really cut off their relationship with her. As far as she knew, Lin Yinghui was very soft-hearted, especially to her family members. In the future, she would definitely be able to repair their relationship with her if she said a few words. Even if she couldn't, she still had the lucky charm to make a wish. Half a month later, when Tang Yi received a separate household register, she was a little dumbfounded. Because in the past half a month, she had been living in a villa under Yen Song's name. All the expenses and living expenses were paid by Yen Song's people. She didn't have time to spend money, so she didn't know that all the supplementary cards given by Tang Yongbua before were frozen. When she received the individual household registration booklet, she had a bad feeling. At the same time, a letter was handed to her with the household register. There were no superfluous words in it. Looking at the sloppy but elegant handwriting, it was Tang Yongbua's. The general meaning was that from now on, she was no longer a member of the family Tang, and they had nothing to do with each other. The family Tang didn't owe her anything, and they didn't care about the 10 years of upbringing and education expenses. So, everything about the family Tang had nothing to do with her. The family Tang didn't care about all the money she had spent, but they had the right to take back all the assets under her name and freeze her funds. Looking at these, Tang Yi hurriedly checked some of the assets under her name. Sure enough, all the funds were frozen. These things were all bought in the name of the family Tang couple, and the accounts were all from the family Tang couple. In addition, with their identity, it was easy for them to take back the money without Tang Yi noticing. Tang Yi checked all the assets under her name, and all the real estate was taken back. The supplementary cards were frozen, and the money that the family Tang couple had earned for her was also frozen by the bank. In total, the money in her other cards could only be used for tens of thousands of yuan. Since she was adopted into the family Tang, she had never thought that she would encounter such a situation. You've gone too far. Tang Yi looked at the household register, and finally tore the letter into pieces and threw it into the trash can. Don't blame me for being unkind. Tang Yi thought that the couple didn't like her for a long time, and now they finally found an excuse to drive her out and take back everything they had given her. She held the household register and sat on the sofa with a gloomy face. Not long after, she held the lucky charm in her hand and asked, "When will the energy be replenished?" "Good luck talisman, you should interact more with Yen Song." "Alright, I can't wait." Once her energy was replenished, she would make a wish to obtain Tang Kuei's heart. She didn't know if the couple would encounter any disaster this time, but she couldn't care less about that now. Who asked them to be so heartless? Tang Yi believed that if she married Yen Song, her energy would be replenished faster. Therefore, she took out her household register and said that she wanted to register her marriage with Yen Song first. Although Yen Song was surprised to find that she was the only one in the household register, she didn't think too much about it. For a family like the family Tang, it was not a big deal to have a household register. It was actually better this way. They could get the marriage certificate first. Even if the family Tang objected, it was useless. The two people, each with their own thoughts, got the marriage certificate. Yen Song told his father about the marriage certificate with Tang Yi, and his father was very happy. The two of them discussed and chose a time to go to the family Tang to ask about the wedding. Yen Song thought that at this time, the family Tang had to hold the wedding for the sake of their face. He didn't expect that he wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Calm down. Talk about life and find a confidant. Chapter 1846. Yen family didn't expect that Tang Yi and Yen Song's wedding would be like this. They rushed to the family Tang school and asked about Tang Yi and Yen Song's wedding. Only then did they know that Tang Yi had broken off her relationship with the family Tang school. Tang Yi's household register was separated from her, and all her assets were taken back. Now Tang Yi was alone, and she had nothing to do with the family Tang school. Taking advantage of this, the family Tang school officially announced that they had broken off their relationship with their adopted daughter, Tang Yi. The family Tang school didn't say anything. They didn't say anything bad about Tang Yi, nor did they say anything good about her. They didn't hide anything. Some smart people understood why Tang Yi and Yen Song announced their relationship a while ago, and Lin Yinghui was suddenly hospitalized for a week. Although the family Tang couple used to be big figures in the business world, since they handed over the Tang group to Tang Kuei, they devoted themselves to charity. They were humble and gentle, and they were very good to their children, especially to their adopted daughter, Tang Yi. Everyone knew that they didn't treat her badly. In every big gathering, Lin Yinghui always had Tang Guo on her left side and Tang Yi on her right side. Now she broke off her relationship with Tang Yi, and it was so thorough. Tang Yi must have done something wrong. Many people didn't say anything on the surface, but they had already planned to stay away from Tang Yi and the Yen family. After all, the Yen family's reputation was not good. Some people guessed that Yen Song might really like men, and maybe he had a lover outside. Combined with Lin Yinghui's hospitalization, it might be because of this. If it was because of this, Lin Yinghui objected, and Tang Yi didn't turn back and got sick. In short, the outside world guessed that the Yan family would make waves. Letting Yan Song marry an ordinary woman, who had no status and was called Tang Yi, was not what they expected. But now they got the marriage certificate, and they announced to the public that Yan Song and Tang Yi would get married. If they didn't get married, wouldn't it be a slap to their own face? Yan Song also didn't expect it, but he didn't argue with Tang Yi. The current situation wasn't too bad for him. He married a woman mainly to maintain the relationship on the surface, so that his father wouldn't trouble him, and to dispel the ideas of those illegitimate children. On the contrary, now that Tang Yi had no family Tang to rely on, she could only rely on him, and it was easier to control her. In the end, Tang Yi and Yan Song held their wedding ceremony. Many people came to watch the fun, and some wanted to see the Tang family's attitude. Tang Yi found that no one from the family came. Her hatred and resentment reached its peak. The Tang family was too ruthless. She was still thinking that they would still be a family in the future and worried that the couple would be hurt because of Tang Kuei. Host, Yan Song has already missed 3 major projects this month and caused a huge loss to the Yan family. In just 1 month, his tires had been punctured 12 times, he had met 3 old ladies who were trying to blackmail him. His brakes had also failed and he had crashed 4 cars. Currently, his driving license had been completely deducted. Tang Guo blinked. Am I that unlucky? Yes, because his luck was very good. If he was an ordinary person, he would have already been hospitalized. The system said with a smile, "Oh, host, there is the latest news, and it's a bit exciting. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, please be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant." Chapter 1847. Tangua asked, "What happened?" Yan Song was playing with his little lover in the bathroom. Perhaps the floor was too slippery, he sprained his waist and his face turned pale. His little lover had already called the ambulance and looked very anxious. Later, according to the system's report, Yan Song had a bad fall and had to be hospitalized. Currently, the company had lost 3 big projects and was in a mess. Yan Song sprained his waist and could not handle things. Yan Song's father had no choice but to hand over some of Yan Song's responsibilities to the other illegitimate sons. He even suspected that the Yan family had been so unlucky recently because they married Tang Yi, the jinx. Otherwise, why would so many things happen in less than 2 months after they got married? Tang Yi still did nothing every day and stayed in Yan Song's villa. She did not care about where Yan Song went. She did not care about his cold attitude at all. She only focused on the lucky charm to replenish her energy. When she learned that most of the energy had been replenished, she laughed crazily. When she learned that Yan Song sprained his waist, she knew that it was because of the lucky charm. There were rumors that Yan Song was shining because of a man who had an ambiguous relationship with him. She did not mind at all and felt that it was quite satisfying. She thought that it was retribution. If there was anyone to blame it on Yan Song. He was not sincere to her and only wanted to use her. Now, this was retribution. She did not feel guilty at all for absorbing Yan Song's luck. Therefore, when Yan Song suffered, she only felt happy and did not feel guilty at all. Yan Song's waist injury was healed for a month. When he returned to the company, he found that the Yan family had changed. Those illegitimate children had actually joined forces to please his father and arranged many important positions for them. Among them, Yan Ting was the leader. There was no internal strife at all. It was as if they had acknowledged that Yan Ting was their boss. Especially when he heard that Yan Ting had won a few good projects for the company to recover losses and create profits for the company, he felt a chill down his spine. He wanted to do something, but he found that he was suppressed by Enchanting everywhere. He did not know when Enchanting had grown to such an extent. Those important projects were all accurate and there was no failure to speak of. Yensong's father was very disappointed when he saw Yensong's weak appearance and knew why Yensong sprained his waist previously. The more he looked at Enchanting, who was full of energy and vigor, the more he looked at him, the more he liked him. Yensong was unwilling to give up and wanted to continue fighting. At this moment, someone exposed all kinds of ambiguous videos and photos of him and his little lover, Tan-yi. Those unsightly scenes and words shocked the entire upper-class circle. With such an embarrassing son, Yensong's father had almost sent him back to be remade. How could he let him become the successor? Since then, Yensong had lost the qualifications to compete. When he woke up, he began to wonder if he had married Tang-yi, the jinx. He went crazy to find Tang-yi. At that time, Tang-yi had just finished replenishing her energy and hung the lucky charm around her neck. She found someone to embed the lucky charm with diamonds so that she could wear it around her neck or hide it in her clothes. When Yensong came in, he looked at her with hatred on his face. She looked at him in disgust. "Why are you back? You are a jinx." Yensong pointed at Tang-yi and said, "If I hadn't married you, how could I be so unlucky? I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant." Chapter 1848. Tang-yi said slowly, "Didn't you insist on marrying me? Now it's my fault. Wasn't the purpose of your marriage with me so that you could have a private meeting with your little lover under the guise of a cover-up? Last time, you even said that you want me to have a baby. Dream on. On the day of our wedding, you said that you can't do it. Yensong, calm down a little, since you know it, why did you marry me? It's none of your business. Well, you can leave now." She didn't plan to divorce Yensong for the time being. She would divorce him after her wish came true. Now that she was divorced, she was penniless and would probably end up on the streets. Apart from the days before she was adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Tang, she really had not suffered much. She had also forgotten what it was like to have no money, but she knew that without money, it would be difficult to move an inch. Yensong looked at Tang-yi and felt a little disgusted. In fact, he had no reason to blame Tang-yi. When they got married, no one knew that she was a jinx. Tang-yi didn't have that kind of reputation when she was in the family Tang. So, he turned around and left angrily. Back in the room, he thought about the things that happened since he met Tang-yi. He always felt that everything was strange. Yes, he suspected that Tang-yi had done something wrong. Otherwise, how could he be so unlucky? And Tang-yi didn't seem to like him, so what was the purpose of marrying him? Yensong, who was suspicious, secretly bought a hidden camera and installed it in Tang-yi's room when she went out. Tang-yi went out to eat a few delicious meals before returning to the room. She took out the lucky charm and said seriously, "Lucky charm, your energy has been replenished. Now help me to fulfill my wish. I think that in order to get Tang Kuei's heart and help you to get energy, I sacrificed too much. I married Yensong, that bastard. This time, I should be able to succeed." Tang-yi took out a pen and wrote her wish on the lucky charm. She didn't know that this scene was seen by Yensong. Yensong couldn't believe it, but he had to believe that Tang-yi's words could explain why he was so unlucky. He turned off the monitor and rushed out of the study. He happened to meet Tang-yi and said, "I'm going out." "Where to?" Tang-yi really liked Yensong. If she didn't like him, she wouldn't be together with him without any status. Now that Yensong was in dire straits, he had almost lost the right to inherit the Yen family. If he wasn't sincere, he wouldn't have stayed by Yen Song's side. Seeing Yen Song in such a hurry, she felt a little flustered. She tugged at him and said, "It's already so late. No matter how urgent it is, you can go tomorrow." "No, this matter is urgent. I have to go today." Tanny didn't manage to stop him and was even rudely pushed. He was worried and uncertain. In the end, he chose to secretly drive and follow Yen Song. The furious Yen Song did not notice that Tan Yi was following behind him. This scene was broadcasted to Tang Gua and Tang Kuei by the system and 111 respectively. The two of them were lying in their room with their eyes closed, watching Yen Song angrily going to Tang Yi's villa on the system's live broadcast screen. He also saw Tan Yi following behind. When he saw this place, he looked sad and gloomy. Tan Yi might not be a good person. Other than Yen Song, he was selfish to everyone. But he really liked Yen Song. At this time, it was certain that he was sad. At this time, the villa was noisy, but Tan Yi had already driven away sadly. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, please be calm. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1849. Yen Song and Tang Yi quarreled. He wanted to grab Tang Yi's lucky charm. The two of them fought fiercely. In the end, Tang Yi kicked Yen Song's private part and hit his shoulder with a stool. Tang Yi was not much better. She was slapped in the face a few times. She was pulled by her hair and hit her head. In a hurry, she kicked Yen Song's private part and made him lose his ability to fight. Both of them were injured. They released each other. Yen Song covered his private part and left. When he returned to the place where he lived, he found that Tan Yi was missing. He looked for Tan Yi all over the world. Finally, after some twists and turns, he found Tan Yi and explained why he went to Tang Yi. Tan Yi chose to forgive him. It has been a month since Tang Yi made her wish. Tang Kuei didn't treat her sincerely, he didn't even see her face. Tang Yi, who was very anxious, finally couldn't help but take the initiative to go out and stop Tang Kuei on the road. She never expected that she would be hit by a car when she went out. She was knocked into the air. She glanced at the driver. It was a handsome young man with a gentle smile on his face. Then she fell to the ground. She heard the sound of leather shoes coming over and the man's gentle voice. "You hurt Song so much. No one will punish him, but I will. Now, no one can stop me in Song, not even you." This place was relatively remote and there was no camera. This was also the reason why Tanny dared to do this thing. Maybe it was retribution. He only loved Yen Song and was selfish to everyone. For his love, he didn't hesitate to let an innocent woman give birth to his children. At that time, someone happened to pass by that place and filmed all of this. He also reported the case and called the emergency number. Tang Yi didn't die. She didn't know whether it was because she was lucky or because of the lucky charm. Even if she didn't die, she was half disabled. Her leg was missing, and one of her arms was comminuted. She was almost disabled. Tan Yi was arrested and received the corresponding punishment. Yen Song knew the truth and resolutely chose to divorce Tang Yi. He didn't give her a single cent. Tang Yi, who was desperate, thought of family Tang couple. She went to the family Tang's villa with crutches, trying to get help. However, before that, Tang Gua had already fed the family Tang couple a dream of golden millet and showed them some videos. Seeing the cold eyes of the couple, Tang Yi was a little scared. "Dad, Mom." Lin Yinghui shook her head and said, "I am not your mother, and Yongbua is not your father." "Dad, Mom, I was wrong." Lin Yinghui's expression dimmed and there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. No, we were wrong. I hate myself. How could I raise an enemy? I raised her for more than 10 years and even pampered her like a treasure. In a pipe dream, they dreamt of a different life. Their instincts told them that it was real. They could see the whole situation clearly. All the tragedies were caused by Tang Yi's selfish wish. She made them lose their daughter and their son's last chance to live in this world. Finally, Tang Yi was driven away and never had the chance to enter this place again. She was crippled, and became a beggar. His entire value was the lucky charm that he kept in his arms. She was unwilling to give up. She thought that the lucky charm could help her. She tried to absorb the luck of others, but it was to no avail. In the end, she finally found that she could absorb Yen Song's luck. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. She wanted to be the supporting female lead. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1850. After that, there was a joke in the upper-class circle. Yen Song was madly in love with a female beggar. If he was not careful, he would be attacked by her. That female beggar was also very powerful. She could always push Yen Song to the ground and kiss him fiercely. Once, they were seen by Tang Guo and Tao Yu when they were shopping hand in hand. There were also many people around. Tang Guo looked at Tang Yi, who was wearing rags and smelly clothes. She pressed Yen Song and kissed him fiercely. She did not laugh out loud like the others. Instead, she looked at them carefully. Such a gaze attracted the attention of the two. Tang Yi turned around. When she saw Tang Guo, her eyes suddenly became gloomy. She wiped her mouth, threw Yen Song to the ground, and limped to Tang Guo. Tao Yu subconsciously protected Tang Guo behind him. Tang Guo came up to him again. Tao Yu had no choice but to hold her gently. He was always on guard. I shouldn't be so greedy. Tang Guo did not expect that Tang Yi would say such a sentence. If you weren't greedy, everything would be mine. Her parents were hers. She was the daughter of the family Tang, and Tang Kuei were also hers. Believe it or not, one day, I will have everything again. Tang Yi said with a smile on her face. After all, she used to have nothing. It was the lucky charm that helped her realize her wish. Tang Guo glanced at the object hanging around Tang Yi's neck. Are you talking about making a wish on that thing? What? You don't believe it? Tang Yi was a little mad. She was not happy to be doubted. Tang Guo shook her head. I never believe that a pie will fall from the sky. You need to work hard and pay a price to get what you want. To get wealth, you need hands and wisdom. To get sincerity, you need sincerity. I've never heard of it. You don't need to pay anything, but you can get benefits for free. You don't understand. Tang Yi muttered to herself and walked past Tang Guo. What do you know? In this world, there are benefits for free. You can start with nothing, but you can have everything. You can have everything. You haven't encountered it, but it doesn't mean that others don't have it. Xiaoguo, next month is our wedding day. You haven't forgotten, have you? It won't be postponed, right? In this inappropriate place, Tao Yu said pitifully, it's time to get married. You should have finished what you wanted to do, right? Now, my future parents are very satisfied with me. My future brother-in-law is also asking when I'm getting married. System, this child is really pitiful. Big brother Tao, I've kept you waiting. I didn't forget. Hearing this, Tao Yu finally breathed a sigh of relief. He held Tang Guo's face and gently touched it. Then, he held her little hand and left happily. Yen Song crawled up from the ground, his face full of bad luck. Tang Yi was like a fly with sticky candy, he couldn't get rid of her. No matter where he hid, he would be found. It was revealed that Yen Song liked men, and Tang Yi was imprisoned because of him. In addition, he was pestered by Tang Yi, so no one wanted to marry him. Tang Yi, on the other hand, had been replenishing the energy of the lucky charm all her life, trying to realize her wish. When Yen Song died because of losing all the lucky charm, she couldn't find anyone to absorb the lucky charm. She was at a loss on the street, not knowing where to go. At this time, her hair was white, and her face was full of helplessness. She looked like she was abandoned when her parents died in an accident. She was sent to the orphanage, robbed of her food, isolated, bullied, and sat in the corner of the orphanage. Why didn't your lucky charm work? Why didn't it work? I gave you so much energy, why didn't it work? Tang Yi threw the lucky charm on the ground and stomped on it. Her face was full of anger. The people around looked at her and only thought that she was a crazy beggar woman. Host, Tang Yi is dead. Her soul was absorbed by the lucky charm. Tang Kuei, I see. Host, Tang Yi is dead. According to the test, the soul was absorbed by the lucky charm. The evil thing seemed to be very upset. It probably regretted that it chose to bind Tang Yi. Hey, it wanted to break through time and space to escape. I have already caught it. Host, do you want to take that thing back? Tangua, no, brother, and the three little ones seemed to know the origin of the evil thing. Give it to them. Sob, sob, sob. Alright, dear host, our time in this world is coming to an end. Why don't we talk to the three ones? Everyone is a good system. It's okay to get to know each other and make friends. Your fake brother is also a good person. One more friend, one more road, right? Tangua smiled. Do you want to ask the three little ones to help you get an official identity? System, yes, working for the government is really different. I want to talk with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting role. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1851. When Tang Kuei left this world, Tang Guo was sitting beside him. The two of them did not use any means to maintain their youthful appearances. Therefore, they were both white-haired, but their skin was well maintained, making them look younger. However, Tang Kuei's body was nearing the end of its lifespan, and his face was very pale. He looked at Tang Guo with a smile, and Tang Guo also smiled. In this ward, there were only the two of them. I suddenly don't know what to say. Tang Kuei smiled. Sister, you understand, right? I understand, brother. Tang Kuei's life was the same as in the previous world. He had not met anyone who could move him. In this life, he protected his family and his sister. At the same time, he did what the original body wanted to do, and became a real business tycoon. He succeeded, and his name was known by everyone in this world. He was actually very satisfied, because this world was more colorful than before. Tang Guo was colorful, or rather, she was a plate of colorful candy, sweet and warm. In his memory, he did not have a sister, but he had already regarded Tang Guo as his sister. I'm leaving. Although I really want to stay a little longer, I have no choice. This is an ordinary world. Tang Kuei said, I am very happy to have a sister like you. I don't know if we will have the chance to meet again in the future. In the 3,000 small worlds, fortuitous encounters and fate are all uncontrollable. It is possible to meet them, and it is not surprising if you don't. Brother, don't regret it. You will meet what you are destined to meet. Tang Kuei smiled. Yes, I haven't asked. Sister, where did you come from? I don't know where I came from, and I want to know the answer. I wanted to ask brother, but now it seems that you don't know either. However, I have an unnumbered system, and it should be communicating with the three little ones now. Maybe it can find something. Tang Kui was slightly surprised. So Tang Guan knew about the three little ones. Was it because of her system? His three little ones did not notice her existence at all, and he did not know what level of system it was. Logically speaking, the three little ones should be a top-level system. If there is a chance, I will help you ask. How long has it been since you transmigrated to these worlds? I don't know. Some of my memories are already blurry. If it's not 10,000 years, it should be at least a few thousand years. Tang Kui fell into deep thought. I remember that the system appeared less than 10,000 years ago. Regarding this matter, you will have to ask the boss of the Space Administration to find out. But I don't know what boss has been doing in recent years. It's very rare to see him. It doesn't matter. Big brother, just help me keep an eye out when you're free. Tang Kui could feel his life force slipping away. Suddenly, an item appeared in his hand. It was a transparent, brightly colored tourmaline bracelet. Naturally, it was not an ordinary item. It could ward off evil spirits, drive away souls, and protect the body. Don't forget, I'm your big brother. Thank you, big brother. Tang Guo directly took out a set of soft armor, which was naturally made by Qi Xiao. This set of life-saving soft armor is my gift to big brother. It was made by a big shot in the immortal world, and its quality is guaranteed. Tang Kui was amused. In the end, he closed his eyes with a smile. Host, let me tell you. Your fake sister has a very fierce system. It's just an unorthodox system without a serial number. It insisted on adding me as a friend and even asked me to ask if he was qualified to apply for a serial number. It's super fierce. The problem is that I can't win against it. Host, let's quickly move on to the next mission. It's really too frustrating to be beaten by it. Tang Kui said, don't you know how to give into your sister's system? As for his matter, wait for boss to come back and ask him. Angry and depressed, 111 gave in to what? He couldn't win at all, okay? Sister, I only have that fake sister all day long. Woo, what else can I do? Give in. There was a place called Family Tang Village. The reason why it was called Family Tang Village was because more than half of the people in the village had the surname Tang. The village chief was called Tang Jindo. He had a younger brother called Tang Indo. Tang Indo was a small merchant who often traveled between the village and the city. His family was the richest in the village. Tang Jindo had 3 sons and 2 daughters. The sons were handsome and the daughters were delicate. Tang Indo had 2 sons and 1 daughter. Both of them were quite good-looking. Tang Jindo was a benevolent person. In the eyes of the villagers, he was a good village chief. Tang Indo usually smiled at everyone he met. That gaze of his gave people the feeling that he wanted to take a layer of oil from you. He liked to haggle over every little thing. In general, he was just a person who was neither good nor bad. This time, Tang Guo's identity was Tang Jindo's eldest daughter. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, hurry up and change into a female supporting character, calm down. Look, chat about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1852. After absorbing the memories, Tang Guo found out that this little world was formed from a book. To be more precise, it was a book where the male and female protagonists loved and killed each other, and there was a blood feud between them. On the day she transmigrated here, she found that something was wrong. At this time, Tang Guo was carrying a basket of eggs. This was the village's Aunt Li's daughter-in-law giving birth to a child. As the oldest woman in the family, she had to go over to congratulate her. Although, she was only 15 years old at the moment. The mother of this body had passed away many years ago. This family's money, all kinds of expenses, and everything else was done by her. Whether it was Tang Jindo or her 3 brothers, they all doted on her and her younger sister Tang Bai. Tang Bai was this world's female lead. "Sis, let's not go out for now. There's no rush to send the gifts over. The summer rain will stop soon." Tang Bai saw that Tang Guo was carrying a basket and had already put on her raincoat. She put on her bamboo hat and was about to step over the threshold to go outside. She quickly grabbed onto Tang Guo's wrist. "It's raining so heavily. If you want to go out, you have to wait until the rain stops." Tang Guo turned around and looked at the 13-year-old girl beside her. Her young face could already tell that she was a beauty, except that she was a little tanned and wore dark-colored clothes. Usually, between the little girl's eyebrows, there was a faint sadness. But now, there was a bit of fear and anxiety in her eyes. Tang Guo glanced at Tang Bai. The other party didn't dare to raise her head and her voice suddenly became small. "Sis, it's not easy to walk in the rain and it's easy to get wet. I'm so young. What if I fall? Then you stay at home. I'll send it over myself," Tang Guo said with a smile. This girl was a bit interesting. She was going to tease her. "System host, you'll scare her. You're really too bad." "No." Tang Bai suddenly raised her head and her grip tightened. "Sis, what if you fall?" Looking at Tang Bai's anxious and pitiful appearance, Tang Guo took off her bamboo hat and straw raincoat. She smiled and said, "Ah, Bai's words make sense. Then let's wait until the sky clears up before we go." Tang Guo put the egg basket aside, and Tang Bai finally breathed a sigh of relief. If she didn't send eggs to Aunt Lee's house when it rained, she wouldn't have met that person. If she hadn't met that person, her family wouldn't have encountered what happened in her previous life. All the disasters were brought about by her moment of benevolence. She couldn't afford to offend that person. She could only avoid him for the rest of her life and not let him come close. She knew very well what she was capable of. She could not take revenge for the grudges from her previous life. The only thing she could do was to protect her family. She loved her father, her 3 brothers, and her sister. Once she was of marriageable age, she would find a man in the village who knew his place and treated her well. It would be best if she could live a peaceful life. Tang Bai looked at the drifting rain outside the house. Her ears were filled with the sound of raindrops falling. She hoped that this rain would be a bit heavier and last a bit longer. It would be best if the person hiding in the grass caught a cold, aggravated his injuries, and finally died. Host, Tang Bai was reborn. That's right. This weak little girl was quite cautious. She had some ability, but for the sake of her family's safety, she turned herself into an ordinary person. Look, she even made herself ugly. Recently, she always went out to sunbathe when she had nothing to do. She probably wanted to turn herself into a little black person. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Quickly change into a female supporting lead. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1853. When Tang Guo heard the system mention the little black man, she laughed out loud. This slightly joyful laughter dispelled the nervousness in Tang Bai's heart. Her sister's laughter was really nice to hear. It was really good to return to the beginning. She hadn't heard her sister laugh like this for a long time. In her previous life, she was blinded and gave her heart to someone who had a blood feud with her. When she saw her sister again, there was only coldness and killing intent in her eyes, making her tremble in fear. But when she thought of that shocking scene, Tang Bai trembled all over. In this life, she couldn't have any contact with that person. Ah, Bai, are you cold? Why did you suddenly shiver? Tang Gua turned her head and asked with a smile, patting Tang Bai's shoulder, if you're cold, then wear more so you don't catch a cold. Sister, I'm not cold. Tang Bai looked at Tang Gua greedily. In this life, she had to be good to her sister and everyone in the family. She couldn't cause trouble and bring harm and danger to them. She owed this family too much. Just like that, the two sisters sat in the central room and stared at the rain outside. As they talked, Tang Bai's heart relaxed a lot. Previously, the female lead of this world was Tang Bai and the male lead was the one Tang Bai mentioned. He was currently injured and hiding in a grass stump in the village. His name was Su Machin. Su Machin's identity was the heir of the house of the Marquis. The current emperor was old and the court was facing a reshuffle. The main thing was that the emperor had many sons and each one of them was outstanding. Su Machin also sided with one side and had to do something very important. He didn't expect that he would be discovered and the other side framed the Marquis' wife and his sister. The two of them died tragically. Su Machin was also intercepted and chased along the way. In the end, he escaped to this place and met Tang Bai who was delivering eggs on a rainy day. Tang Bai looked at the man from Bloody Forest. After delivering the eggs, he turned around and brought the girl home, secretly taking care of her. Tang Jindo was also a kind person. Although he thought that Su Machin might bring harm to the family, he couldn't just leave him to die. In the end, he told his family not to leak any information and secretly hid Su Machin. While recuperating, Su Machin had already received news from the capital. When he learned that his sister and mother had died tragically, he was so angry that he almost couldn't hold it in and went back with his saber. Because the Marquis' family had been framed and he was currently a criminal, no one could know of his whereabouts before he was cleared of the injustice. Before leaving the village, he thought about his escape route and decided that it was not a good idea. If his opponent found this place, it would definitely be disadvantageous to him. Therefore, he decided to silence Tang Jindo and his family so that they would not be exposed. But while he was recuperating, he fell in love with Tang Bai, this shy and gentle little girl. He was a little reluctant to let her die. Therefore, he planned to pretend to take Tang Bai out to play, but in reality, he was taking Tang Bai outside to lie low while secretly sending people to kill Tang Jindo and his family. He succeeded. When Tang Bai saw the tragic death of her family, she fainted. When she woke up again, she was in a carriage. From this day on, she lost all her family members and the only person she could rely on was Su Machin. It was worth mentioning that the original owner had also been out that day. She had escaped a calamity and later inadvertently found out the truth of her family's tragic death. Want to chat with more like-minded people? Quickly change into a supporting female lead and calm down. Look, talk about life, find friends. Chapter 1854. From this day onwards, the original owner was a person who lived with hatred on her shoulders. But she was only an unimportant stumbling block in the path of Su Machin's growth, so naturally she didn't succeed in her revenge. Later, Tang Bai also found out the truth. She failed to assassinate Su Machin and was locked up forever. Su Machin probably didn't kill her because of the little gentleness in the heavy rain that year. It was said that in the heart of a pervert, there would always be a little gentleness that no one knew about. But this wasn't what Tang Bai wanted. Before she died, what she regretted the most was why did she save Su Machin in the first place, and foolishly being deceived for half her life. 2 hours later, the heavy rain stopped, the dark clouds in the sky retreated, and the sun shone down on the earth. Tang Guo walked to the side and picked up the basket. Ah, Bai, I'll send this to Auntie Lee's house. You stay at home and play. The sun is strong now, so don't go out crazy. Look at how tan you are. Tang Bai didn't think there was anything wrong with being a little tanned. It was better to be a little tanned and ugly. That was how a village girl should be. If Su Machin didn't die, he probably wouldn't look at a rustic and ugly village girl like her. She saw that Tang Guo was about to step over the threshold and hurriedly chased after her. Sis, let's go together. The rain stopped and I also want to go out for a walk. It's boring staying at home all day. Tang Jindo doted on his daughter very much and had 3 sons as pillars of support. The girls at home were the happiest girls in the village. He wouldn't let them do any heavy work. At most, he would let them do some clothes, shoes, and socks. But most of the time, they would choose to go to the city to buy things, afraid that the treasures at home would hurt their eyes. Tang Guo didn't object and let Tang Bai pull her arm as they walked towards Auntie Li's house. Outside the courtyard, Tang Guo glanced at a place not far from the house next door. There was also a family there. The small house that was built like a house in the city was the most beautiful house in the village. In her impression, the owner of the house was a handsome young man. Following the young man was an old housekeeper and an attendant. Everyone in the village had guessed that this 9th young master should be a rich young master from some city. With regards to these mysterious and seemingly powerful people, the people in the village all stayed far away from them. They didn't interact much with them, fearing that they would provoke a tough opponent and suffer. Sis, do you like that house? Tang Bai saw that Tang Guo's eyes were fixed on the house next door. When eldest brother, second brother, and third brother come back, we'll think of a way to earn more money. We can also build a beautiful house. Tang Bai hadn't dared to act rashly because Su Machin hadn't appeared yet. Once he appeared and left the village, she would be able to use the skills she had learned in her previous life to earn more money for her family and improve their lives. Although their family was not poor, it was still very expensive to build a beautiful house and buy beautiful jewelry for their sister. Just as they were about to reach the grass stump, Tang Bai tugged on Tang Guo and suddenly stopped. She thought about it. If Su Machin didn't leave and her sister found out, with her kind heart, she would definitely save him. That won't do. Why aren't we moving? Tang Guo asked knowingly. She wasn't in a hurry. Tang Bai was actually a weak and timid girl, but her heart was very kind. After being reborn, she must be very afraid and uneasy. Seeing how the other party had taken so many precautions, it was obvious. Want to chat with like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1855. For someone who had been tormented by guilt her whole life, it wouldn't be easy for her to walk out of this shadow. If she couldn't, Tang Bai would be a frightened bird for the rest of her life. She would easily fall into darkness and live in pain. It wasn't that Tang Bai didn't want revenge, but she knew that with her ability, she couldn't deal with Su Machin, so she could only choose to stay away. When Tang Guo found out that Tang Bai was reborn, she had a plan in mind. Tang Bai was now her sister, so she had to protect her. Su Machin, that scum, would be the stepping stone for Tang Bai to walk out of the shadow and live a bright life. Sis, I suddenly remembered that Axian wanted to talk to me about something. When Tang Bai was lying, anyone with a discerning eye could tell at a glance. Tang Guo didn't intend to expose her and the other party continued, why don't we take a detour? It won't take long to reach Auntie Li's house. Okay. Tang Guo agreed. Lin Axian was a girl from the village that Tang Bai was close with. They were about the same age. Tang Bai looked at the grass stacks in the distance. She could see the place where she had picked up Su Machin. She grabbed Tang Guo's arm and turned her head away, not looking at that place. She prayed that fate would change because she didn't save Su Machin, right? It definitely would. Their family would definitely be safe and sound for the rest of their lives. When they arrived at Lin Xian's house, Tang Bai had Tang Guo wait outside, probably afraid that she would be exposed. Tang Guo was very cooperative and didn't follow in. When Tang Bai came out, she found that the bracelet on Tang Bai's wrist was gone. She guessed that it was given to Lin Xian. After that, the two sisters didn't encounter any more obstacles. They sent the eggs to Auntie Lee's house and even saw Auntie Lee's wife and newborn child. Finally, they left under Auntie Lee's smiling gaze. When they came back, the two walked through the area with the grass stacks. Tang Bai was extremely nervous. When she passed by the familiar grass stacks, she subconsciously looked at it and found that there wasn't a foot that was accidentally exposed like in her previous life. Looking at the traces on the grass stump, that person should have left. Tang Guo also felt Tang Bai's relief and her lips curved slightly. She also glanced at the position of the straw stump. Su Machin was the male lead. His life was so big, would he die? Definitely not. He didn't meet Tang Bai. Did he leave on his own or was he saved by someone? Soon, she had her answer. Along the way, the two of them bumped into someone. That person must have been in a panic. Coupled with the heavy rain earlier, the ground was slippery. He accidentally fell and almost hit Tang Guo and Tang Bai. At the critical moment, Tang Guo grabbed Tang Bai and quickly dodged. As for that person, he fell straight into the ditch. His entire body was covered in mud, and he even cried out in pain. Hearing the familiar voice, Tang Bai subconsciously stepped forward. Sister Chang Chang. After confirming that it was Tang Chang, she hurriedly went to support her. Host, according to your current persona, you should be more enthusiastic than Tang Bai to help Tang Chang up and ask her why she was in such a hurry. There's so much mud, I don't want to go. Let up I go and let her get to know the green tea. The system was speechless. That persona was going to collapse. Was she spoiled by that guy? Alright, it also felt that there was a lot of mud. The host was clean, it was better not to touch it. Have I ever maintained my persona? System, alright. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a supporting female lead. Calm down. Look, chat about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1856. Sister Chang, what's so urgent that you accidentally fell into the ditch? It just rained and the road is slippery. Why didn't you slow down? Are you hurt? Tang Bai asked nervously as she helped Tang Chang up. Tang Chang, Tang Indo's only daughter, was Tang Guo and Tang Bai's cousin. She had a sense of superiority and looked down on all the young girls in the village. Tang Indo was a peddler and his family was the richest in the village. Most of the things he sold were clothes and jewelry. He doted on his daughter very much. Tang Chang was the flower fairy in the eyes of the girls in the village since she was young. She wore the most beautiful clothes and the most colorful jewelry. She was envied by many. She didn't need to work and her family was rich. Her life was like the life of a rich girl in the city. Tang Chang didn't want to be friends with the girls in the village, but she needed them to chase after her. So every time she went out with Tang Indo and returned to the village, she would give the girls in the village some jewelry that the people in the city and she thought were cheap. Even if she thought they were cheap, they were good things in the eyes of the girls in the village. Therefore, she was popular and no one cared about who she looked down on. It didn't make sense to say bad things behind someone's back after receiving benefits from them. Tang Bai asked with concern. According to Tang Guo's understanding of Tang Bai's character, she would definitely be angry at Tang Bai. After another round of scolding, she told Tang Bai how expensive her dress was and how all the jewelry she was wearing was dirted. Anyway, if she couldn't walk steadily and fell into the ditch, she would push the blame to Tang Bai. In Tang Chong's mind, if Tang Bai and Tang Guo didn't move away, she wouldn't have fallen. Even if they didn't move away, she wouldn't be in such a sorry state. But out of Tang Guo's expectation, Tang Chong just shook off the mud on her body and said to Tang Bai, "Thank you, Bai. I'm fine." Tang Guo. System. What's going on? Tang Chong would say thank you to someone. Her beautiful dress was dirty and her jewelry was broken. She didn't get angry. Host, what do you think? What do you think? System, according to my analysis of Tang Chong, she has been spoiled since she was young, and is also a green tea. Now that there were no changes in the family, it was impossible for her personality to change. Tang Indo only thought about earning money every day and only had money in his eyes. He would definitely not think of hiring someone to teach Tang Chong etiquette. Therefore, according to her character, it was impossible for her to say thank you to others. If she was reborn, she wouldn't be able to hide things. She would definitely make it more obvious and eliminate the possibility of being reborn. Then all that was left was to be seen through. If he did, the world would be very lively. 2 transmigrators and 1 reincarnated, but there was no need to compete at all. The boss standing at the top would definitely be his great host. Sister Changchang, you're covered in mud. Go back and change your clothes first. Tang Bai said. Tang Chong quickly shook her head and let go of Tang Bai's hand. I still have some urgent matters to attend to. I'll change my clothes when I get back. After saying that, he didn't wait for Tang Bai to say anything and quickly ran out of the village. The direction he ran in seemed to be towards the city. This village was not far from the city. If one walked at a moderate pace, it would take less than an hour to go back and forth. If he ran a little faster, it would only take him about 15 minutes to go back and forth. Sister Changchang is a little strange today. Want to chat with more like-minded people. Quickly transmigrate, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1857. Having experienced rebirth, Tang Bai was very sensitive. She was prepared to be scolded by Tang Chong. Speaking of which, Tang Chong was not likable and a little selfish, but there was no deep hatred between them. After experiencing everything in her previous life, she did not care about these trivial matters. There was no one in the world more hateful than Su Machin. She even thanked me. When did she become so polite? Tang Bai was just curious about this. After all, she was reborn, so she had to figure out Tang Chong's problems secretly. Any uncertain factors could expose her identity as a reincarnated person. If there was really something wrong with Tang Chong, she had to be more careful and not let the cat out of the bag. Tang Guo smiled and said without any doubt, she probably grew up and became more sensible. Tang Bai sighed when she saw that Tang Guo did not doubt her at all. How could her sister know that there was such a thing as rebirth in the world? It was normal that she could not guess this. It was better not to let her sister worry about this kind of thing. She would secretly observe what Tang Chong was doing another day. Before Tang Jindo became the head of the village, he had taken the county examination. Although he did not pass, he still had some knowledge. Books in this era were precious and the books at home were well preserved. He treated his children equally and taught them to read when they were young. Therefore, Tang Jindo's children were more outstanding than their peers in the village. Although his son was not strong and tall, he still looked somewhat scholarly. If his daughter changed into silk and satin, she would be no different from a rich girl in the city. However, recently the villagers thought that the family Tang's youngest daughter might grow up to be ugly. She was getting darker and darker than all the girls in the village. She could even be called a black girl. Tang Bai was very satisfied with this situation. She wanted to be ordinary and unobtrusive. After Tang Guo came back, she sat in front of the table and prepared to draw a few patterns. Although Tang Jindo did not let the two sisters do any work at home, the girls in this ancient era, who had some means, would save for their dowry before they got married. It was common to make some embroidered handkerchiefs and tie some knots to sell in the city. In the family Tang, the two sisters naturally saved up the money they earned from doing these things. No one could ask them for money. "Sister, I've also thought of a few tricks. I'll draw them for you to see later. What do you think?" Tang Bai looked at Tang Guo drawing and her heart moved. Now she could help her sister do some things. When she followed Su Mochin, she had learned a lot of skills. She had learned all these skills seriously. It would be a waste if she didn't use them. It was for the good of her family, so there was nothing wrong with it. "Sure, Bai, you sit over there and draw." Tang Bai thought that she could help Tang Guo, so she was very happy. She took a pen and began to draw. In one breath, she drew dozens. They were all pretty good flowers that she had seen before. She had made some slight changes to make them look good. However, no one could recognize the original flowers. Anyway, it was fine as long as they looked good. After she finished drawing, she sat at the side and began to play the knots again. The knots she made were also slightly changed and looked very beautiful. Her mind was working fast. She did not know what else she could do to help her family become rich. Tang Guo was also thinking that the family did not lack food or clothes, but they did not have enough money to spend. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Quickly change into a female supporting role and calm down. Look, talk about life and find a confidant. Chapter 1858. Host, what are you thinking so deeply about? I'm thinking about what I can do to earn more money. I checked my savings before. Do you know how much I have? 100 taels. The system asked uncertainly. After all, in TV dramas, people often carried dozens of taels of silver with them. 100 taels was too much, right? Tang Guo said, a square embroidered handkerchief with complicated patterns, good appearance, and good embroidery can be sold for 300 to 500 copper coins. But this kind of embroidered handkerchief, from the pattern to the finished product, takes 10 days. It's time-consuming and laborious, and it's impossible to sit here and embroider day and night every day. According to the progress of the original body, it's not bad to be able to embroider one handkerchief of this level in a month. An ordinary embroidered handkerchief can be sold for 20 to 100 copper coins. It takes 1 to 3 days to make these simple ones, and it's impossible to do this every day. Luozi would be even cheaper. I counted before, the money I saved is about 23 taels, which is equivalent to 23,000 copper coins. Roughly converted to modern RMB, it's less than 10,000 yuan. Is it a lot? The main thing is that the ancient silver is not pure, and there are too many impurities. Of course, the price is not like this. In fact, it's not a small amount. 1 tael can buy 100 caddies of grain, which is enough for your family to eat for a few months. The original body also likes to be beautiful. She was willing to buy small dresses and hair clips for herself. It's really hard for her to save 23 taels. This money is really hard to earn. The system said weakly, Host, there are many finished products in the system space, but I've never seen someone like you. Sitting on an item that can rival a country, but still shouting that it's hard to earn money. I'm now a village girl. With so many eyes, won't people think I'm a monster? Unless I don't want to live a peaceful life and occupy a mountain. The system was good. It could press Su-Machin to the ground and beat him. He didn't like that scum. But I want to quietly be an ordinary village girl who can buy small dresses as she wants. Wearing this kind of ordinary cloth is not so comfortable. If I can let myself live a good life, it's better to live a good life. If it's silk, it should be much more comfortable. The system can buy small dresses as she wants, this condition is not ordinary. Silk and satin. This was something that only the daughters of rich families and officials could wear. They might not even have two pieces. Some silks and satins were not to be worn casually. Commoners were not qualified to wear them. However, he believed that if the host wanted to wear it, she would definitely be able to. Host, I have a suggestion. Tang Guo's interest was piqued. What suggestion? Raise a few more cows. You earn the money and they do the work. Tang Guo said, Tongzi has become bad. I wonder who he learned this from. The host's eldest brother was an excellent carpenter. The second brother was good at building houses, but it was difficult for him to become rich. Third brother was currently in the academy. Third brother was doing well in his studies and was about to take the Shiozai examination. According to my analysis, I will definitely be able to pass. At that time, I will have to spend more and more money. Books are really expensive. Host, you can raise a bunch of capable cows in our village. You don't have to worry about anything. Isn't that great? As the system spoke, it realized that Tang Guo was silent. She seemed to have fallen into deep thought. She must be thinking about the problem of raising cows. Tang Guo's seat had a window. After all, this seat had good lighting and was more suitable for embroidery. The wall outside the courtyard was only half the height of a person. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, chat about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1859. Looking out from the house, one could see the main road at a glance. Tang Indo's house was also well built. But he was just a small peddler and could not be compared to those rich people. It was much worse than the house of the young man next door, but it was very grand. From here, one could see Tang Indo's house. Anyone who entered the Tang Indo family's residence would be able to see clearly. Host, Tang Chong is back. Hearing this, Tang Guo looked up and saw Tang Chong holding an oiled paper bag. It was a little big and she did not know what was inside. She said, scan it and see if it's a medicine bag. Host, it was indeed a medicine bag. The system guessed it. Host, did Tang Chong pick up Su-Machin? Tang Guo thought for a moment and said, I remember that Tang Chong looked quite normal yesterday. When had she been seen through by someone? It was raining so heavily. According to Tang Chong's character, she would not have come out. I heard her complain these 2 days that the weather was too hot and she did not want to go out with second uncle, so she stayed at home to avoid the heat. Why did this person pick up Su-Machin after transmigrating into Tang Chong's body? Tongzi, keep an eye on her and see if there is anything unusual. Although she looked very polite before, she was actually a rash person who couldn't hide her true nature. If she was really a wily old fox, she would not be in such a hurry. The road was so wide and she almost hit us. More importantly, there was only anxiety and worry on her face before, and there was no fear at all. It is very strange. The system agreed and went to keep an eye on Tang Chong. Tang Indo's house was big and Tang Chong had her own small courtyard. She hid Su-Machin in her room and fiddled with the healing medicine by herself. Although she was in a hurry, she still decocted the medicine. Later, Tang Chong returned to the room and held her face, staring blankly at Su-Machin who was lying on the bed, his face red because of the fever. She had changed her clothes that were soaked by the rain. In fact, Su Machin was also observing her. People who grew up in a place of fighting, even if he was a young man under 20 years old, were still very vigilant. Moreover, he had chosen a prince to assist him, so he had to do many things that exceeded his age. His hands had long been stained with blood. Killing people was nothing out of the ordinary for him. He would not even bat an eyelid. Even though his injuries were severe and his head was dizzy, he was still in a daze. If Tang Chang did anything to harm him, he would definitely break her neck in an instant. Tang Chang looked at him for a while, then turned around and went out to look at the boiling medicine. Su Machin didn't know if it was because he smelled the medicine, but he fell into a deep sleep. At this time, Tang Chang came in again and muttered very softly, "Now he's finally fallen asleep." Just like in the novel, he's very vigilant. No wonder he doesn't recognize anyone when he's ruthless. Although you are cruel to everyone, why are you so good to Tang Bai? In the end, she wanted your life. She only has hatred for you. Why don't you like someone else? Tang Chang's mumbling was actually a little unclear, but the system could hear it clearly. I didn't think that I would transmigrate to this world. Tang Bai couldn't kill you, so she killed herself in front of you, causing your hair to turn white overnight. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly transmigrate, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1860. You've been unable to recover from this setback and have been thinking about her your whole life. You've been so crazy, it really makes one's heart ache. I'm the one who picked you up this time. I'll definitely make you understand what happiness is, what love is. Your ruthlessness was all forced by those people. I'll face it with you. Tang Chang was very confident. She had read the book no less than 10 times. Starting from the middle, she felt more and more sorry for Su Machin. Especially after Tang Bai committed suicide, Su Machin's hair turned white overnight. He seemed to have lost all hope and was no longer the high-spirited person. He was crazy for half his life and died depressed. She thought that Su Machin had always been compensating Tang Bai and later apologized to her. As long as he didn't die, Tang Bai could stab him with a knife or poison him. It could be seen that Su Machin really loved Tang Bai. She was a middle school student who was crazily addicted to sadomasochism. She only had one hobby, reading. She didn't like sweet novels. She liked this kind of sadomasochism. No matter how sadistic it was, her heart would always ache for the male lead. She thought that the female lead in sadomasochism was more pretentious. They loved each other so deeply in the beginning. Later, when the male lead fell in love with them, they were so pretentious. They hurt the male lead again and again and said that their hearts hurt. They were really like green tea. They didn't have any ability. Everything was given to them by the male lead. If they had the guts, they wouldn't have been entangled with the male lead in the beginning. Su Machin in this book was her male idol. Now that her male idol was protected by her, whatever Tang Bai, scram to the side. No one could hurt her male idol. Host, the person who transmigrated into Tang Chang's body should be a crazy fan of this book. You don't know, but after Su Machin fainted, the way she looked at Su Machin was as if she wanted to eat him alive, and couldn't wait to swallow him whole. Her tone was also rather childish. She's probably a young soul. She was obsessed with scum like Su Machin. I think it's because the other party's world has less homework. So she's a fan. It's not strange. No matter what character it is. There will always be one or two fans who are crazy and irrational. It's similar to those who don't care about their lives. No matter what the idol does, it's always right. If you don't like idols, then you're blind. No one can compare. Idols are all pure tourmaline, clean and bright, without any impurities. No matter how high-grade the natural tourmaline is, there will always be impurities. If there are no impurities, it's most likely a fake made of glass. Similarly, everyone had their flaws. It was impossible to be perfect in every aspect. One had to be rational when it came to love something. Being too crazy would affect one's happiness. Then what about the host? That little girl was really infatuated with Sue-Machin. She would probably die for him without any complaints. Children these days were really a headache. If Bai knew that Sue-Machin was saved by Tang Bai, she would definitely try to persuade her. As for me, I'll just be a peasant and ensure the safety of this family. Then, I'll think of a way to earn some money. That's enough. The system had already predicted that the host would not care about such people who sought their own deaths. In her words, she was not her mother. She should be responsible for her own actions. If the person was a good person and made the host like, admire, and have a good impression of him, she wouldn't mind helping him. He realized that his host really liked to help people. She was the kind of person who was not hypocritical, not casual, and rational. She always said that these people were the only rare species left in the world. She had the bloodline of the giant panda and must be protected well. He was really a contradictory person. Sometimes he was as warm as the sun, sometimes he was as cold as a 1,000-year-old ice cube. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly become a supporting female lead and calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1861. Tang Guo was still thinking about what kind of project to develop in the village that could make the whole village work for her while she sat on the side and counted the money. Knowing that Tang Chong was a fan who transmigrated into the book, she didn't pay much attention to it. Anyway, with her around, Tang Jindo's family wouldn't be in any danger. As for Tang Indo's family, Tang Chong would probably think of a way to make Sue-Machin silence them. She didn't expect Tang Chong's method to be so rough. She wanted to expose Sue-Machin in front of the entire village and let everyone know that she had saved a person. Tang Guo didn't expect. Sue-Machin didn't expect it either. Tang Bai didn't expect it. Sue-Machin definitely didn't dare to exterminate the village. There were hundreds of people in the village and it was close to the city. The slightest leak could attract the attention of people with ulterior motives. When the time came, the capital would send experts to catch him. Not only would he be caught, he wouldn't be able to carry out his plan. In the end, Sue-Machin chose to change his name to Chen Mo and pretended to be a businessman. He was robbed and finally escaped into the village. Coincidentally, he was picked up by the kind Tang Chong and brought home to recuperate. The villagers didn't dare to say anything on the surface, but behind their backs, there was a lot of discussion. Tang Chong was an unmarried virgin. It was said that she picked up a man of unknown identity and raised him in her courtyard. A man and a woman alone in the same room was damaging to her reputation. Even in modern times, no matter if it was a man or a woman, if people found out that they brought someone of the opposite sex to live in their house, they would think that this person was more flirtatious and would talk about it. What's more, this was a more conservative ancient society. It was a good thing that this was an era where people were more open. The villagers would only talk about it and wouldn't do anything drastic. But the people who originally liked Tang Chong no longer considered her. Who knew if Tang Chong would cheat on their son at any time? After Tang Bai found out that Sue-Machin was picked up by Tang Chong, she wanted to remind Tang Chong that Sue-Machin wasn't a good person. But she couldn't expose her identity and Tang Chong also looked very strange. So she could only sit at the door every day and look at the door of Tang Chong's house with worry and worry. She was afraid of Sue-Machin. What if he wanted to exterminate the whole village? Although this was a possibility, he was still afraid. Tang Guo wandered around slowly, thinking about what to do. Tang Bai noticed it and asked, "Sis, you've been deep in thought for the past few days. Is there something on your mind?" "Well, I'm thinking about how to get rich," Tang Guo turned around and said very seriously. Tang Bai was a little surprised. So her sister was still dreaming of getting rich. But this was really difficult. She knew a lot of things, but for safety reasons, she didn't dare to casually take them out. These things that she knew had no origin. She couldn't just learn them out of thin air. She would definitely be suspected. "Sister, do you think that our family is too poor? Could the village head's family be considered poor? Because of Tang Jindo and Tang Indo in this village, as long as they didn't slack off, they would definitely be able to eat their fill. I'm poor. I've saved up so much money for so many years, but I can't even afford a set of gold head ornaments or a beautiful silk dress," Tang Guo said faintly. The fabric of this era was really rough. Silk was the most comfortable to wear and clung to the skin. "System, the host's big cutie, quickly come out and earn money to buy dresses and jewelry for your wife. The host is so poor that she's going crazy. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting lead and calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant." Chapter 1862. He was used to a life of luxury. Now that he had suddenly become poor, it was really not a good feeling. After hearing Tang Guo's words, Tang Bai also felt that their family was too poor. She had seen the world. After leaving with Su Machun, she had been wearing silk and satin. After being reborn, those things were just passing clouds to her. She did not care. But if her sister wanted them, she had to find a way to save money to buy them for her. In her previous life, her sister had suffered so much because of her. In order to learn martial arts, she was covered in scars. Her face was covered in scars and she always wore coarse black clothes. Indeed, she did not have a good life. If her sister wanted gold head ornaments, she would buy them. If her sister wanted satin skirts, she would buy them. But where would the money come from? Tang Bai felt that she was useless. She could not even fulfill her sister's small request. She was so anxious that her eyes turned red. "Ah, Bai, what's wrong?" Tang Guo walked in front of Tang Bai. "Did you suddenly feel that our family is too poor? Are you crying because of sadness?" The system laughed. Was the host trying to kill it with laughter so that it could destroy its program? Tang Bai, who was originally very sad, could not help but laugh. Other than the system and Tang Bai's laughter, Tang Guo also heard someone else's laughter. She turned around and saw a young man standing at the entrance of the luxuriously built house. He was wearing a moon-white satin robe and a jade crown. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back and a smile on his lips. The low laughter was from him. "Ninth young master, what are you laughing at?" When Tang Guo saw the young man, her smile deepened. She asked, "What's so funny?" "Miss Guo, you must have seen wrongly." Gu Jisi kept his smile and his handsome face became serious. "I just heard that Miss Guo wants to become rich. Have you thought of a way?" "I've thought of something, but I'm still thinking about it. After all, I want to become rich. If I want to do it, I want to do it big. If it's too small, I won't be rich." Gu Jisi asked curiously, "Then what is it?" Tang Guo glanced at him and said with a smile, "Ninth young master, is it appropriate for you to ask so directly about this kind of idea that can make you rich? I don't lack money, so I won't steal Miss Guo's business. Besides, we've been neighbors for so many years, and the village chief has taken good care of me, so I still have to respect this bit of morality. Miss Guo, if you tell me, I can help you come up with a plan." Ninth young master, you look really confident when you speak. If it weren't for the curiosity in your eyes, I would have believed you. Gu Jusi was speechless. He really wanted to help this interesting young lady. When he heard her say that she was too poor to buy gold head ornaments and silk dresses, he thought it was very interesting. Tang Bai felt even more that she owed her sister. If it wasn't for her, perhaps her sister could have really become rich. Sister had always loved to be beautiful. She liked all kinds of beautiful jewelry, beautiful dresses, rouge, face powder, and so on. Gu Jusi blinked her beautiful eyes and said with a serious expression, Miss Guo, I'm not lying to you. What kind of guarantee do you have? The system was able to make the host's mood very good just by meeting her, and even said so much. It couldn't help but tease her. Then this person must be waiting obediently for the host to pamper her. There was no way she could run away. The system sighed. The host was really teasing people every time. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character, calm down. Look, chat about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1863. The original Gu Jusi would not have cared about Tang Guo's words at all. He was Gu Jusi. Why would he need to prove that he was not lying? Even if he was lying, who could do anything to him? However, facing this ordinary-looking, pretty girl who was looking at him without blinking and waiting for his answer, he had the urge to explain himself for the first time. What was there to explain? Naturally, he had to explain that he, Gu Jusi, disdained lying, did not lack money, and would not steal her method of making money. Miss Guo, I'm really not lying. Gu Jusi could not help but feel that it was inappropriate after thinking of all sorts of reasons. For some reason, he was afraid that she would become anxious and think that he could not think of an explanation. She would think that he was planning to steal her method of making money. That would cause a misunderstanding. Thus, Gu Jusi said those words somewhat anxiously. He immediately reacted and realized that he had lost his composure. His ears actually turned a little red. I'm really not lying to you. The redness on his ears quickly faded. Gu Jusi's expression became serious. Miss Guo, do I look like a bad person to you? Tang Bai stood at the side and watched the conversation between the two. She thought to herself, it turns out that the ninth young master, who rarely goes out, is actually a talkative person. During festivals, when her family gave the ninth young master some festive gifts, she would only hear him say words like, thank you. She never knew that the ninth young master would say something different the moment he opened his mouth. To think that the villagers thought that he had a cold personality and was not good with words. Although he was very old, he was a rich young master who was indifferent to worldly affairs. He had only chosen to live here because he wanted peace and quiet. The ninth young master does not look like a bad person, but a bad person would not write that on his face. Gu Jusi thought that since he had said that, she would believe him. He did not expect that this girl would really be sophistry. No, how was this sophistry? She was clearly being unreasonable. Tang Guo smiled as she looked at the extremely anxious Gu Jusi, whose eyes were filled with complaints. She could not help but say to the system, this guy is a little cute. I want to tease him when I see how anxious he is. System, he is not a puppy. Host, enough is enough. It will be very difficult to coax him in the future. Look at him. He's so anxious that his ears are red. Just let him go. Tang Guo didn't want to continue teasing him. She was about to say that although bad people wouldn't write the words bad person on their faces, she didn't think that young Master Zhou was a bad person. At the same time, he could also praise her or something. Unexpectedly, Gu Jusi moved first. She quickly walked in front of Tang Guo and shoved something into her hand with a little force. Then, he turned around and entered the house, which made Tang Guo a little confused. When she saw the item in her hand, she quietly said to the system, "Tongzi is really angry this time." "Oh ho, host, didn't I say that you're always teasing me? Who doesn't have a little temper?" This time, he must have reincarnated well. Look, every brick and tile of this house is not ordinary. It could be seen that the other party had been pampered since young, so it was normal for him to have a bit of a temper. "Sis, what does ninth young master mean by this?" Tang Bai looked at the huge stack of banknotes in Tang Guo's hand. It was so thick that it was worth at least a few thousand taels. Even if she was reborn, she did not know much about Gu Jusi in her previous life. She could only feel that he was mysterious and powerful. Now, he seemed to be angry. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character and calm down. Look, chat about life and find a confidant. Chapter 1864. Would the other party bear a grudge against her? "Sister, is ninth young master angry?" Tang Guo glanced at the banknotes in her hand and nodded. "He is angry." "Then what should we do?" Tang Bai was really worried to death. Seeing Tang Guo's calm appearance, she finally understood why her elder sister was able to endure so much hardship in her previous life. She even danced with a knife and played with monsters. After suffering so many injuries, she still didn't give up on revenge. Even she, who had been reborn, panicked when faced with such a situation. Yet, her sister was still indifferent. Sister was indeed her sister. Even though she had been reborn, she was still so timid and weak. Her rebirth only made her feel lucky. It did not make her more courageous. In fact, it made her even more timid. "It's okay. I'll make some delicious food for ninth young master another day. He is a magnanimous person. He will forget about this matter soon." Was this enough? Was he so easy to coax? Tang Bai silently asked. This young master of a large family was not a fool. How could he be coaxed with just a meal? If one meal was not enough for Tang Guo, 2 meals would be enough. If she ate a few more meals, she would be able to coax him. Actually, the system only needed to say a few nice words to praise that fellow. Tang Bai looked at the banknotes and did not feel much. Then what about these banknotes? It was such a large sum. She could not possibly take it away. She looked at Tang Guo eagerly. She wanted to say something but did not know what to say. She was really afraid that her sister would use the banknotes to buy silk, satin, and gold and silver bracelets. If she spent it, she would not be able to pay it back in such a short time. "Sister, could you give her a little more time?" A few thousand taels was really too much. She was not of marriageable age yet. She was still a young lady. At this moment, the door of the house was opened. A young man dressed in green walked in front of Tang Guo. His face was expressionless, and the words he spoke were cold and indifferent, as if he was an emotionless puppet. Master said that the banknotes are temporarily in Miss Guo's hands. He also asked Miss Guo if you believe that young master is not a businessman. Tang Guo hurriedly said, "Of course I do." As she spoke, she handed the banknote to the green-clothed youth. "Take this banknote back and let the ninth young master keep it." I don't doubt him. He was just teasing her. He didn't expect her to be so stingy. All right, I'll coax her later. The young man in green didn't take the banknotes. Instead, he pushed them away and said coldly, "Master said to let Miss Guo keep them. Even I believe him. It's not safe to leave it with me. I'll be robbed. If it's gone, I won't be able to afford it." The young man in green didn't even look at Tang Guo as he repeated the same sentence. "Master said to let Miss Guo keep it." He didn't say that I can take it back. One must know how to be flexible. As a subordinate, I only need to listen to the master's orders. If I don't obey the master's orders, I'll be kicked out. The young man's face was serious. This time, he looked at Tang Gua seriously and said, as a subordinate, I only need to listen to the master's orders. Miss Gua, please don't cause me to be chased away by master. I don't want to leave this place. You did it secretly. Master is omnipotent. Even if he isn't omnipotent, I can't do it secretly. Tang Bai was a blockhead. This blockhead was still the same as when she came. But she was also worried about that stack of banknotes. If Miss Gua has nothing else, I'll go in first. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, chat about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1865. Big sis, what should we do? Tang Bai grabbed Tang Gua's wrist, let's hide it first. If someone sees it, who knows how much trouble it will cause. When she said this, she saw that Tang Gua had already hidden the banknotes in her sleeves. She let out a sigh of relief. Big sis, you said before that we'll give ninth young master some food. Will he really not be angry anymore? He shouldn't be angry anymore. He's such a good-looking person and he can get so much banknotes just by casually spending money. He's not a petty person. Then big sis, why did you say that ninth young master is a bad person? Although I haven't interacted much with him, he really doesn't seem like a bad person. I'm just joking. It's rare to see such a good-looking young master in the village, so I couldn't help but say a few more words. Tang Gua didn't care about anything and said in a loud voice. Tang Bai was so scared that she quickly shushed her. Big sis, ninth young master is good-looking and he's only a little older than you. But his background is mysterious. Big sis, you mustn't be fooled by his appearance. After what happened last time, Tang Bai was afraid of this kind of rich young master. Although she didn't want to be like Su Machin, people of noble status would always be in the middle of a whirlpool. They were only the daughters of the small village head. Once they were involved, they wouldn't have a good ending. Big sis, don't be fooled by some people's dignified appearances. In reality, they're all black inside. They might not even recognize their own family and are cruel and unscrupulous. Tang Gua lightly glanced at Tang Bai. Aren't you afraid that the ninth young master will hear you hinting at him like this? He shouldn't be able to hear. However, Tang Bai didn't know that at this moment, Gu Jisi was sitting at the top of the pavilion. Separated by a thin bamboo curtain, he held a teacup in one hand and stared at Tang Gua. When he heard Tang Gua say that he was good-looking and said those words just because she wanted to talk more with him, he felt inexplicably happy. Because of a little girl's loss of composure, he hurriedly stopped smiling. In the end, when he heard Tang Bai's words, he couldn't smile at all. Her insides were all black. She didn't even recognize her own family. She had the heart of a wolf and lungs of a dog. There shouldn't be anything to talk about in the village recently, right? The village chief shouldn't let his daughter read this kind of book, right? The village chief's second daughter was probably going to grow up crooked. No wonder she was getting darker and darker recently. She must have been thinking too much. Master, the matter has been settled. Gu Jisi did not want to think about Tang Bai's derogatory words. In her mind, she remembered that Tang Gua had said that he was quite good-looking, which was why she talked to him more. When he heard the azure-robed young man's voice, he was still looking outside. Without turning his head, he said, Lin Yan, go and get the bronze mirror. Yes, master. Lin Yan didn't understand why his master wanted the bronze mirror in broad daylight. But since it was his master's order, he just had to follow it. Before long, a large bronze mirror was placed in front of Gu Jusi. He was carefully examining his own appearance. However, the bronze mirror was not very clear, so he could not see clearly. He suddenly remembered that many years ago, before he came here, he had packed a mirror from the western regions in his luggage. At that time, he felt that it was rare, so he took it from his second brother. After he came to family Tang village, he forgot about this matter. Lin Yan got a new job. He was to help his master get a very clear mirror from the western regions. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1866. When Tang Guo returned to her house next door, she was indeed planning to make something to eat. She had made him angry, so she had to coax him. She had no idea that Gu Jusi was no longer angry. Because of her words, he was looking at himself in the mirror in a wonderful mood. The more he looked, the more handsome he felt. Tang Guo did not intend to let others notice her abnormality. The original owner was a capable girl. She knew how to read, draw, needlework, and her culinary skills were not bad. If such a woman was placed in modern society, she would be an all-rounder. Therefore, she tried to recall some dishes that the original owner knew. In the end, she decided to make braised food. Of course, the braised food she was going to make would not be the same as the original owner's. It would definitely taste better than the original owner's. In this era, it was rare for every family in the family Tang village to be able to eat their fill. Not to mention that there was meat in every meal. That was impossible. According to the village head's income, eating meat was not a big problem. However, people who grew up in the village were more simple and thrifty. To them, eating meat for every meal was more luxurious. Although they could not eat meat for every meal, everyone could eat an egg every day. Third brother Tang Chongqing, who was in the academy, could eat 2 eggs every day. His family did not have any objections. Such a standard of living was much better than many people. As for making braised food, she definitely could not make chicken feet or duck feet. Not to mention whether they were sold, even if they were, she could not make something that was a little ahead of the current era. This place was not far from the city, but it was already late. Those who sold meat were most likely packing up their stalls. In the summer, the butcher could not kill too many pigs. The meat would spoil if it was left out for too long. Meat that had been seasoned with salt could not be made. Making braised food. In the end, Tang Guo looked at the baskets of eggs at home. Her family raised many chickens. They were all kept in a yard behind the house and laid many eggs every day. It was really good to make some braised eggs. If she made some vegetarian braised food, it would not be too greasy to eat. Finally, she remembered that the stream at the entrance of the village came from the back of the mountain. The back of the mountain was very shady and cool. The water came from there. Those who knew would understand that the water at the mouth of the spring was warm in winter and cold in summer. She took some more fruits and placed them at the mouth of the spring. By the time she finished making the braised food, the fruits were already cold. P.S. Book friends, I am the author Du Liao. I recommend a free book that supports downloading, listening to books, 0 advertisements, and multiple reading modes. Please follow the WeChat public account on the top right corner of WeChat. Add a friend, choose a public account, enter a book friend, quickly follow. While he was at it, he also made some vegetable porridge. In order to coax that guy, she had put in a lot of effort this time. The system looked at all of this silently. It was rare to see the host so patient, making these things to coax people. TSK. That guy had cursed him time and time again. Was this considered as working hard after all? As long as that fellow was obedient, the host would probably buy a street for him. What a blessing, and a little envy. He was a system, so he couldn't eat the delicious food cooked by the host, so he was a little jealous. After Tang Jindo failed the county-level examination, he learned the craft of carpentry. Later on, this craft was passed on to Tang Chongqing. The reason why it was passed on to Tang Chongqing was because his eldest son was more suitable for carpentry. As for the second son, Tang Chongqun, he was apprenticed to a master and learned the craft of building a house. Since it was building a house, there would definitely be carpenters who made furniture. Therefore, the three of them basically inherited the carpentry and building skills of this generation. They were still quite busy. They would be busy until the sky turned dark before they could come back. Hurry up and we're the supporting female lead, calm down. Want to chat with more like-minded people? Hurry up and we're the supporting female lead, calm down. Look, talk about life, find confidence. Chapter 1867. If it weren't for the fact that there were only two girls in the family, Tang Gua and Tang Bai, they wouldn't have been so busy. They could have just found a place to stay in the city or slept in the accommodation assigned by the boss. Even if they came back, only one of them came back. Those who came back were mostly Tang Jindo. After all, he had another identity. He was the village chief of this village. If anything happened in the village, it was up to him to deal with it. He came back every day so he could rest assured. Most of the people in the family Tang village were more down to earth. It was also because they didn't starve and didn't suffer from the cold. Many young people in the village received all kinds of work under the leadership of Tang Jindo and his sons. Those who were more quick-witted, looked smarter, and knew how to read were recruited by Tang Indo. They obediently followed Tang Jindo and worked hard. In general, the people in the family Tang village lived a good life. On this day, when the sun gradually set, Tang Jindo carried a cloth bag and walked to the door of his house. He stood at the door and sniffed with his eyes closed. The fragrance coming from the courtyard made him open his eyes and walk faster. "Father, you're back." "I'm back." Tang Jindo glanced around the courtyard. "Where's Gua-er?" "Sister went to send food to ninth young master." Tang Jindo nodded. Judging from the fragrance just now, there must be something delicious. He didn't think it was a big deal to send some to ninth young master next door. What delicious food did Gua-er make this time? Braised food. Tang Jindo was puzzled. Gua-er used to make these before. Why didn't it smell so good? Sister hasn't made it for a long time. I guess her cooking skills have improved. Father, sister also froze fruits and cooked vegetable porridge. It's perfect to eat with braised food. Tang Jindo didn't want to ask so much. He just wanted to eat now. He also forgot that the few meat buns he bought in the city were for Tang Gua and Tang Bai. Meat buns were not as delicious as his daughter's braised food. What's this? Gu Jusi knew that Tang Gua planned to make food to make him happy. He had been looking forward to what she would make the whole afternoon. If he wasn't afraid of being discovered, he would have secretly asked Lin Yan to take a look. He thought that if he didn't look and just sat here and waited, it wouldn't take long. When the time came, if the food she made tasted good, he would symbolically take 2 bites and say that he wasn't angry at all and that she was overthinking. Only a fool would admit that he was angry before. That was not befitting of his status. Getting angry with a little girl because of a few words, if it reached the ears of Big Brother and Second Brother, they would definitely ruthlessly laugh at him, making him unable to raise his head. Unexpectedly, only an hour had passed. A faintly discernible smell of braised meat drifted over from next door. It was getting thicker and thicker. The fragrance was something he had never smelled before. Even if he didn't eat it, he could imagine how delicious it would be if he were to eat it. Just like that, he lost his composure for the next few days. Why did he lose his composure? He did something that he had never done in his entire life. He swallowed his saliva. He kept swallowing and swallowing. He couldn't stop at all. The taste was too alluring. Finally, the food he had been looking forward to was here. He still had to tense up all over to prevent himself from showing too much eagerness. Otherwise, he would really have a share. However, the braised food in front of him was really too fragrant. He used a lot of patience to not touch his chopsticks directly. He even politely asked Tang Guo what this was. "Young Master Zhou, this is a braised egg. I've cut it a little so that it's easier to eat." Tang Guo first introduced the braised egg, then the other braised vegetables. Finally, she placed the plain porridge in front of him. Then, she placed a plate of frozen and cut fruits aside. Seeing that Gu Jusi didn't even blink, she smiled. "Try it and see if you like it." He didn't need to taste it. He liked it very much. "Thank you for your hospitality, Miss Guo. If you're busy, you can go ahead." He didn't know if he felt that this sentence was wrong, but he continued, "It's late. I'll ask Lin Yan to send you over. It's getting dark. If someone sees Miss Guo here, it will affect your reputation. System, wake up. This is your future wife. You'll definitely regret it in the future. Quick, we're the supporting female lead. Calm down. Want to chat with more like-minded people? Quick, we're the supporting female lead. Calm down. Look, chat about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1868. This time, Tang Guo thought of teasing Gu Jusi again. She only said, "Ninth young master, I will go first. Thank you for being so considerate. If the sky had really turned dark and people knew that I was here, I don't know what would have happened in the village. I don't care about my reputation, but a noble person like the ninth young master would not be slandered so easily." The system's host was laughing so hard. What a petty woman. Would the system die if it did not hold a grudge? Gu Jusi was mesmerized by the fragrance of the braised food. Although he felt that Tang Guo's words sounded a little strange, he tried his best to control himself. He was trying his best to control himself. He sat upright in his seat and replied without looking up, "Okay, I'll ask Lin Yan to send you to the door." "Thank you, ninth young master." When Tang Guo turned around, Gu Jusi quickly picked up a small piece of braised egg and put it into his mouth. He chewed it quickly and swallowed it. Tang Guo suddenly turned around and looked at Gu Jusi with a smile. Her action scared Gu Jusi so much that he quickly shut his mouth. He held his chopsticks with a serious expression. He did not look anxious at all. He was really good at scaring people. "Ninth young master, I forgot to tell you something." Tang Guo walked back and took out a thick stack of banknotes from her sleeve. Even for someone of Gu Jusi's noble status, it was not a small amount of money to carry around with him. "Ninth young master, are you still angry with me?" The braised egg was really delicious. It was different from the ones he had eaten before. Even the best chef at Second Brother's place could not make something like this. Delicious. It was really delicious. Gu Jusi smiled when he remembered that Tang Guo was still waiting for his reply. He was born with red lips and white teeth. He had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. When he smiled, he was really good-looking. "When was I angry with you? You are a woman and I am a man. I should be polite. How could I be angry with you?" Tang Guo nodded as if she was relieved. She placed the banknotes on the table and asked, "Then why did ninth young master stuff the banknotes into my hands?" Gu Jusi was stunned for a moment. That's right. If he wasn't angry, why would he take out banknotes to prove that he was rich and that he couldn't steal her business? However, he absolutely could not admit that he was angry in front of Tanguo. Wouldn't that make him seem too petty? Ninth young master. Gu Jusi returned to his senses and looked seriously at Tanguo. He picked up the banknotes and stuffed them back into her hands. This young master didn't give you the banknotes to prove whether or not I have money. P.S. Book friends, I am the author Du Liao. I recommend a free book that supports downloading, listening to books, zero advertisements, and multiple reading modes. Please follow the WeChat public account on the top right corner of WeChat. Add a friend, choose a public account, enter a book friend, quickly follow. Then why? Gu Jusi had already thought of an excuse. His lips curled into a smile. Didn't you say that you wanted to get rich? You even thought of a way. From your words, this young master can tell that you are ambitious and want to do something big. However, this business isn't something that can be done just because you want to. Especially since your request doesn't seem to be low. Do you know that selling silk, satin, gold, and silver jewelry is not a small wish? You have to at least become a small wealthy family to be able to do it. Then ninth young master is giving me banknotes? Gu Jusi's smile deepened. Of course to join. You don't have much money on hand, do you? You can't do a big business without money. The contents of this chapter are updated by hand. That's right. I worry about money every day. The system was coaxing her again. This bad habit couldn't be changed. Hurry up and we're the supporting female lead. Calm down. Want to chat with more like-minded people? Hurry up and we're the supporting female lead. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1869. Although the village head's family is doing well and the villagers don't starve, no one can support you in your business, right? The more Gu Jusi spoke, the brighter her eyes became. She suddenly felt that this was a good idea. He had plenty of money. If he ran out, he would send Lin Yen back to ask his eldest brother and second brother for more. After all, he was the eldest brother and second brother didn't lack money. They might even be happy to spend it. Young Master Joe, you've hit the nail on the head. The system understood. So the host didn't have to worry about money. She had already set her sights on Gu Jusi. She probably didn't think of returning the banknotes the moment she put them in her sleeve. It was no wonder that when he asked the great host to take some money from the system space to solve this urgent problem, she had rejected him. So she was pretending to be poor to give Gu Jusi a way out. When the two of them had a common interest, it would be much easier to make a move. This flirting skill was really amazing. Rabbits don't eat the grass near their burrows, but the host just stared at the grass near their burrows. Her taste didn't change at all. She only liked the cute type. So, these banknotes are for you to join the business. I had some urgent matters to attend to earlier, so I left in a hurry. Tanguo asked in a serious tone, what's so urgent? Why was Gu Jusi asking so much? He found the perfect excuse with great difficulty, but she still wanted to get to the bottom of it. Miss Guo, it's late. Then I'll take my leave first, young Master Joe. Tanguo looked at the banknotes in her hand. There were a total of 10 banknotes here. Each banknote was worth 500 taels. She took one and stuffed the rest back into Gu Jusi's hand. 500 taels is enough for my business. If young Master Joe invests too much, I won't make any money. What do you mean you won't make any money? I'll pay, and you'll come up with ideas. Naturally, we'll split it half. If the ideas aren't bad, you'll definitely make a profit. What I mean is, 5,000 taels is too much. I don't need so much. 500 taels is enough. In this small place, 500 taels was really enough. Gu Jusi frowned slightly. 500 taels was enough to start a business. Thinking that this was just a small village, he came to a realization. He didn't force the issue and kept the rest of the items. After Tang Guo left, he couldn't wait to eat the food. He felt Lin Yan's gaze and raised his head. Miss Guo gave this to me. You don't have a share today. You can leave first. Lin Yan, can't I even smell it? He didn't say that he wanted to eat it. His master was really stingy. When they got home, Tang Jindo naturally asked why Tang Guo's braised food was so delicious today. She had said that she was just casually experimenting with it for a while. She didn't expect it to be so delicious, so she decided to try it when she was free today. Tang Jindo didn't ask much. He trusted his eldest daughter very much. However, he was worried about Tang Bai, who had a slightly weaker personality. Fortunately, he had his eldest daughter, so he didn't have to be distracted and went to work in the city during the day. The next day, Tang Guo began to write down what she wanted to do. Ever since Tang Bai found out that Su Machun was taken care of by Tang Chang, she was absent-minded all day. Every time she saw Tang Chang supporting the pale and weak Su Machun out, her mind was filled with Su Machun's cruel appearance. She was so scared that her whole body turned cold. Ah, Bai, come in quickly. I have something for you to do. Quick female supporting character, calm down. Want to chat with more like-minded people, quick female supporting character, calm down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1870. Tang Guo saw that Tang Bai wasn't in a good state and didn't let her continue, preparing to find something for her to do. Sis, is there anything you need me to do? Hearing that Tang Guo wanted her to do something, Tang Bai was very happy. Now, whatever Tang Guo wanted her to do, she probably couldn't refuse. Even if she was reborn, she found that she still couldn't help. Some of the things she knew, for the safety of the family, she didn't dare to take them out. So even if a useless person was reborn, they wouldn't be able to change anything, right? As for danger, she could only avoid it. Su Machun's luck had always been very good. Even if he wasn't saved by her, he was saved by Tang Chang. She was still hoping that he would die from a high fever, but now she was only left with a sense of loss and uneasiness. She was really afraid that Su Machun would bring danger to the village. She knew best how ruthless he was. The patterns you drew before were very beautiful. Now I want to give you a very important task. Tang Guo pointed to the table. Draw more patterns, all kinds, as long as you think it's beautiful. Tang Bai didn't know what Tang Guo wanted to do, but after hearing Tang Guo's words, she nodded heavily. She was very good at drawing patterns. After being deceived by Su Machun in her previous life, the only person she could rely on was him. It was funny, but in order to take care of him, repay him, and please him, she really learned many skills. She was proficient in the 4 arts, and was also good at embroidery. She was praised as a virtuous and talented woman by countless people. This title was the shame of her previous life. Sis, I will make you satisfied. What she had learned was not to please Su Machun, but to please him. Instead, she should use these things to make her family and her family better and better. She had her own selfish motives. She didn't intend to draw the most beautiful pattern in her heart. She wanted to keep it, and when she could buy silk one day, she would personally make the most beautiful silk dress and embroider handkerchiefs for her sister. Tang Guo saw that Tang Bai had calmed down and was drawing patterns with a smile on her face. She didn't know what she was thinking, but the fear and worry on her face was gone. This girl is really pitiful. Fortunately, she met the great host. The system was able to capture Tang Bai's emotional fluctuations. She could really be described as a bird startled by the twang of a bough. Especially when she sat in the courtyard and secretly saw Tang Cheng supporting Su Machin. Her bright eyes seemed to be covered with a layer of dust that couldn't be wiped away. Only when Tang Gua asked her to do something would she smile, her face full of hope. It took 3 days for Tang Gua to finish writing the plan. She had considered everything that could be considered. As for Tang Bai, she had no time to pay attention to Tang Cheng because Tang Guo was instructing her to draw patterns. Beside the table, there were already many patterns that had been drawn. P.S. Book friends, I am the author Du Liao. I recommend a free book that supports downloading, listening to books, 0 advertisements, and multiple reading modes. Please follow the WeChat public account on the top right corner of WeChat. Add a friend, choose a public account, enter a book friend, quickly follow. On this day, she saw Tang Guo walking outside with a booklet. She hurriedly followed her. Elder sister, where are you going? I'm going to find young Master Zhou. He wants to partner with me to do business. It's difficult to start a business, so I have to show him this plan. I'll go with you. Tang Guo agreed. When Gu Jusi saw Tang Guo's business plan, he was really surprised. Although he didn't do these things, he wasn't an ignorant person. With just one look, he knew that the feasibility was very high. Quick, female supporting character, calm down, want to talk with more like-minded people, quick, female supporting character, calm down. Look, talk about life, find friends, you're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.